Chapter 54. A few people giggled. Why would he come to an amusement park if it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars a second? Then, someone else giggled. He's here to invest. He's from a multinational international finance company. Where do you think all the snack bars around this amusement park come from? Hey, a big boss like him coming here to make such a small investment? That's impossible, isn't it? Hee hee, didn't you hear that? The boss, the shopkeeper, and the waiter's jobs were all taken care of together. It's tough. Could this be the legendary Shell Company? Xueqi felt like vomiting blood in his heart. He glared angrily at the sarcastic crowd, then turned back to Xueqi and said patiently, "Miss, I haven't asked for your name yet. Can you tell me your name?" "She's Xueqi. She's my girlfriend." Li Yundong walked over with 2 ice cream cones in his hands. "May I know what you're here for?" Xueqi turned around and saw a boy standing in front of him. His clothes were ordinary, but he had a dignified air about him. His eyes shone brightly, and Xueqi felt ashamed of his own inferiority. You're her boyfriend?" Xueqi stammered. He turned around and looked at Xueqi. "Is he your boyfriend?" Xueqi took the ice cream cone from Li Yundong's hand and licked it. Then, she smiled sweetly at him. "No." Li Yundong's expression changed slightly. Xueqi burst into laughter. "I was wondering why a beautiful girl like you would fall for a poor boy like him." Xueqi shot Xueqi a sideways glance, then brought the ice cream cone to Li Yundong's mouth. "He's my boss," she said sweetly. "Boss, I'll treat you to an ice cream cone." Li Yundong was overjoyed. His anger turned to joy, and he said proudly, "Well, my girl made me very happy today. I'll do you a favor and have a bite." After that, he took a bite out of the ice cream cone in Xueqi's hand and burst into hearty laughter like a villain who had achieved his goal. "What am I supposed to eat? You're so annoying." Xueqi grabbed the ice cream in Li Yundong's hand and took a big bite out of it, almost as if she was taking revenge on Li Yundong. Xueqi, on the other hand, had small, cherry-like lips. How could she gulp down half an ice cream like Li Yundong? She took a bite and her face was covered in blood. Li Yundong pointed at Xueqi's face and laughed out loud. But after laughing twice, he swallowed the cold air that made his chest feel stuffy. He couldn't help but grimace and beat his chest. Xueqi burst out laughing when she saw Li Yundong's reaction, but the ice cream in her mouth was so cold that her mouth was numb. She took a deep breath, not forgetting to tease Li Yundong. "Serves you right, retribution." Li Yundong felt as if his chest had frozen. He choked and rolled his eyes. How could he speak? The two of them made everyone around them laugh. Xueqi's face darkened. He didn't know what to do, and he didn't know what to do. If it was any other person, they would have retreated in the face of difficulties. However, Xueqi had a very high opinion of himself. This amusement park was near a luxurious area where the rich lived. He wasn't here to play, but to return to his mansion. However, when he saw Xueqi, he was shocked. He just wanted to go up to her and ask for her phone number before he slowly planned to do something else. But Li Yundong's appearance made him feel a sense of crisis and inferiority. Xueqi knew that he was no longer young. He was no longer in the prime of his youth. The only thing he could rely on and show off was his wealth and experience. Based on Xueqi's experience, there was no woman in the world who wasn't vain. There was no woman who couldn't be swayed by a check. Xueqi sneered and took out a checkbook from his pocket. "How much do you want?" he asked. When she heard Xueqi's voice, she swallowed the ice cream in her mouth with all her might. As a result, she was so cold that she jumped up and down on the spot. "What?" she asked with difficulty. What did you say?" Xueqi had seen countless women, but he had never seen such a pure, beautiful, and innocent girl. He liked her even more. He took out a pen from his pocket and said, "I said, how much money do you want to leave this boy?" When Xueqi heard this, she suddenly became furious. Her 2 willowy eyebrows rose and she said coldly, "Are you very rich?" "Of course," Xueqi said proudly. "Everyone in the world has a price. As long as you can offer it, you can buy and sell anyone." The intimate relationship between Li Yundong and Xueqi made the surrounding tourists love and envy them. Even if some of them had their own ideas, they were very self-aware and didn't want to ruin the relationship between the young couple. But when they heard Xueqi's words, they all became angry and cursed. What's so great about having some money? Take your money and save it to buy yourself a coffin. However, Rong Guafa turned a deaf ear to the scolding next to him. He glanced at Li Yundong again and said, "How much are you willing to give her to me?" These words made Li Yundong want to punch Rong Guafa in the face immediately. Su Chan knew that at this time, the Jindan Zhenqi in his body was strong and magnificent, and his qi and blood were incredibly vigorous. His temperament had not been tempered, so he was easily angry and irritable. If there was a disagreement, he would have the urge to punch. She didn't want him to get into trouble because of this and disturb their cultivation, so she pulled his arm and shook her head gently at him. After stopping him, Su Chan said to Rong Guafa, "Let me ask you, how many mouths do you have?" Rong Guafa was stunned. "One." "Why?" Su Chan asked again, "How many pairs of feet do you have?" Rong Guafa frowned and said, "One pair?" "Why are you asking this?" Su Chan asked again, "How many bodies do you have?" Rong Guafa said impatiently, "Nonsense, of course I only have one. Since you know that you only have one mouth, one pair of feet, and one body, then you should know that no matter how rich you are, you can only eat a bowl of rice, wear a pair of shoes, and wear a set of clothes." Su Chan said with a mocking smile, "Since you know that you only have one mouth, one pair of feet, and one body, then you should know that no matter how rich you are, you can only eat a bowl of rice, wear a pair of shoes, and wear a set of clothes. You're standing in front of me. Just because you're rich, you can eat an extra ice cream cone, wear an extra pair of shoes, and wear an extra set of clothes?" Rong Guafa's face turned red and he argued, "But in this world, the same things have different levels. I can wear high-end brands." He pointed at Li Yundong and said, "He can only wear cheap goods." Su Chan sneered and said, "Is there anything more to your high-end brands than Yundong's? Is it an extra sleeve? Or a few extra buttons? Let me tell you, in this world, there is no high or low, only good and evil, beauty and ugliness." As soon as he said this, the surrounding people all cheered loudly. Some of the boys stared at Su Chan with glowing eyes and applauded her with all their might. The older men with their female companions sighed and thought to themselves, "This girl is beautiful, but what's even more remarkable is that she's so pure and noble in this kind of society. If I had a woman like her by my side, I would be willing to lose 20 years of my life." Rong Guafa's outlook on life and values had been seriously challenged. Like a cat whose tail had been stepped on, he jumped up and down and said, "What's the point of saying that? Can it bring you luxurious clothes and delicacies? Can it pay your rent and mortgage? The entire financial circle of Southeast Asia will be shaken by my order. What can this poor boy do?" Su Chan laughed as if she had heard the funniest joke in the world. In the eyes of a cultivator like her, all the things in the world added up could not compare to the word cultivation. No matter how powerful an official was, even if he became an emperor, with an order, the divine land would be plunged into misery and blood would flow. However, such a powerful emperor still had to ask not the common people, but ghosts and gods. No matter how rich a businessman was, even if he was like Tao Zhugong, he would still spend a huge sum of money and even destroy his family's wealth to join Buddhism and Taoism, just to seek peace and longevity. The officials in power had dominated the world for decades, but once the situation changed, the door would change from a crowded market to a deserted one. Once the lamp ran out of oil, no matter how powerful they would be nothing more than a pile of yellow soil. Emperor Qin Wu, Song Zhu of the Tang sect, and Genghis Khan, what kind of people were they? But they had all turned into a pile of yellow soil. And those who were as rich as a country, no matter how rich they were and how powerful they were, it was impossible for them to pass on their wealth to the fourth generation. It was the curse of the rich that wealth could not last for 3 generations. What's more, no matter how rich a person was, they could not escape the cycle of life, death, illness, and death. However, cultivators could transcend life and death, transcending all of this. Power and wealth were just fleeting clouds in their eyes. Throughout the dynasties, how many people have been famous, how many have been powerful, how many have been as rich as a country, how many have laughed at the world, and how many have not lived forever? Su Chan laughed and couldn't help but think of a sentence she had once seen her master write on the wind-dust stone. After Su Chan stopped laughing, she pointed at Li Yundong and said to Rong Guafa, "You must remember his name. His name is Li Yundong, and he is my partner. Although he is a nobody now, I promise you that in less than 2 years, his name will be famous all over the world. At that time, what you can do, he can do without any effort, but what he can do, you will never be able to do." Su Chan's words were sonorous and powerful, and the people around her were stunned. They couldn't help but look at Li Yundong, as if they couldn't understand why this girl was so sure that Li Yundong would have such great achievements in the future. Rong Guafa had a strange look on his face. He wanted to laugh at the girl's arrogant words, but Su Chan's face was full of love and solemnity, and he couldn't bring himself to say it. He used a lot of strength and said bitterly, "Why do you say that?" Su Chan walked to Li Yundong's side and took his hand. She smiled. "Because he has me by his side." Li Yundong looked at Su Chan in a daze, his chest heaving up and down, and his heart surging. He almost cried. With a girl like this by his side, even if the sky fell down, what was there to be afraid of? The young man also smiled and took Su Chan's hand. Their fingers were tightly intertwined, and they no longer looked at Rong Guafa, who was in a daze, or at the crowd around them. Shoulder to shoulder, the two of them walked away. I went out to eat with Yezi, but it rained heavily and I was delayed. Everyone, I'm sorry. Chapter 55. Su Chan giggled. Really? Li Yundong chuckled. Yeah. Do you think a grown man like me is a good-for-nothing for shedding tears? Su Chan climbed onto Li Yundong's back. Of course not. If you're a good-for-nothing, then everyone else in this world is a bunch of cowards. Li Yundong laughed. You want me to carry you? Fine, girl. You made me proud today, so I'll carry you home today. Su Chan rested her chin on Li Yundong's broad shoulder. You said it. Li Yundong chuckled. Li Yundong laughed. You've already climbed onto my back. How can I not carry you? Enough chit-chat. Let's go home and eat. While the two of them were fooling around, Tiannan University was already in a frenzy. Where's Li Yundong? Feng Na was frantically searching for Li Yundong backstage. The show is going to start in an hour. Why isn't he here yet? Feng Na spotted Sun Li backstage helping a classmate with her makeup. She grabbed her and yelled, Where's Li Yundong? Sun Li froze. He's not here. Feng Na looked like she was about to explode. You're the class rep, why are you asking me? I called him today, Sun Li said. He said he'd be here. The thought of Li Yundong made Sun Li furious. She pulled a female classmate over to her side. Have you seen Li Yundong? Sun Li asked. The girl shook her head. That hero is elusive. How are we supposed to know? Sun Li asked a few other classmates, but all of them shook their heads and said they didn't know. Sun Li stomped her foot anxiously. How could that bastard stand me up on something so important? I saw Li Yundong this morning. A girl who was passing by suddenly said. Where? Sun Li and Feng Na were overjoyed. He was at the school gate with his girlfriend. I think he got into a fight with a teacher. And then? Sun Li asked. And then? The girl shrugged. And then he got into a fight with the teacher and left with his girlfriend, right? Feng Na put a hand to her forehead and sighed. I really lost to him. If this fellow is an emperor, he must be a fatuous ruler who loves beauties but not his country. Sun Li scolded, Bah! He wants to be the emperor? You have no sense of class honor at all. Feng Na laughed. What does being an emperor have to do with class honor? Sun Li glared at Feng Na and handed the phone back to her. This is your business. Why are you calling him yourself? Feng Na quickly smiled and said, Beauty, can you do me a favor? He's a student of your class. Hurry up and contact them. It might not be too late to come now. Sun Li pocketed her phone and dialed a number. But after waiting for a long time, no one picked up. After calling a few more times, Sun Li was so angry that she wanted to smash her phone. This bastard! Did he buy a phone to use as a landline? Why don't you bring it with you? Feng Na covered her face and said with a wry smile. What should I do? We're dead meat this time. The two girls were sighing, and from time to time, they would denounce Li Yundong. Suddenly, a voice rang out. What are you two doing here? What happened to Li Yundong? Sun Li and Feng Na heard a man's voice. Both of them jumped in fright and turned their heads away. Feng Na took a closer look. It was Teacher Lu from the Academic Affairs Office, who had wanted to recruit a strong man last time. She widened her eyes and stammered, Teacher Lu, this is backstage, where the girls change clothes. Why are you here? The girls who were changing backstage hurriedly put on their clothes. Some of them gasped in shock, while others cursed under their breaths. "You old pervert," Mr. Liu said. He looked straight ahead, but from the corner of his eyes, he kept sneaking glances at the scantily clad girls. "I'm just here to see how your preparations are coming along. What were you guys talking about just now? What did Li Yundong do this time?" Feng Na asked tentatively. "Mr. Liu, nothing happened to Li Yundong. What did he do to piss you off?" Mr. Liu had only intended to sneak a peek at Feng Na and Sun Li, but when he heard Feng Na and Sun Li denouncing Li Yundong, he couldn't help but chime in. This student doesn't know how to respect his teachers at all, and he doesn't know how to follow the school's rules. Bringing shady people into the school all day long, and even insulting the teachers in front of them. "I'm going to kick him out today." Ha! Feng Na nearly fell to the ground. "How many days have I spent planning this show? I worked so hard to persuade Li Yundong to replace Zhao Yujin, and I begged and begged Zhou Qin to help Li Yundong solve the problem with Director Qian. But now, with one simple sentence, this old man has negated all of my hard work." Feng Na's eyes widened. She looked like she was about to explode. Sun Li knew a little about Feng Na, so she quickly pulled Feng Na back and said to Mr. Liu, "Mr. Liu, Li Yundong is the main actor of the Taekwondo club tonight. If he's not here, the show can't go on." Mr. Liu's heart tightened, but he refused to back down. "What do you mean can't go on? Without Butcher Zhang, we're going to have to eat pigs with fur? We can't let a student like him embarrass Tiannan University on stage. Is there no one else in Tiannan University?" Feng Na exploded. "Mr. Liu, do you have any idea how long I've been preparing for this show? Do you know that Principal Ke picked this show? Do you know that even the deputy mayor mentioned this show?" Gong Zizhen had also said that talent should not be restricted to one style. Li Yundong had 1,000 faults and 1,000 faults, but he also had his own skills. Without him, this show really couldn't go on stage. Besides, as a teacher, you shouldn't talk about your own students like that, right? Mr. Liu's face turned green and white after being scolded by Feng Na. His lips trembled. He flicked his sleeves and ran out angrily. "Outrageous, outrageous," he said. When Mr. Liu was abusing his position to avenge a personal grudge, he had never thought that Li Yundong would have a performance tonight, let alone that his performance would be so important. He was so shocked and panicked that he accidentally stepped on a flight of stairs. With a yelp, he tumbled down the stairs. Ouch! The girls in the backstage locker room all laughed out loud. "Good fall. That old pervert. His eyes were on my chest the moment he walked in. Fall to your death." Sun Li sighed. "Look at you now. If Li Yundong didn't make it, you'd have offended a teacher." Feng Na felt a twinge of regret after her outburst, but she was still as stubborn as ever. "Humph. He can't fire me, can he? Sun Li, call Li Yundong again. By the way, doesn't he live on campus?" Sun Li sighed as she dialed Li Yundong's number. "He's never lived on campus. Besides, even if he used to live on campus, now that he has such a beautiful girlfriend, do you think he would?" "Do you know where he lives then?" Feng Na asked. Sun Li shook her head. "That guy has always been a loner in class. No one knows where he lives, and he's always been a loner." "Hey, hold on." The call connected. "Hello? Hello? Is this Li Yundong?" Sun Li yelled into the phone. "Yundong, someone's talking to me." A girl's voice came from the other end of the line. Li Yundong's voice came from the other end of the line. "Can you ask who it is?" "Yundong," the girl said, giggling. "Who are you?" "I'm his classmate. My name is Sun Li," Sun Li said. "Can you put him on the phone?" Sun Li and Feng Na looked at each other. Then Feng Na said, "Put it on speaker, I'll listen." Sun Li and Feng Na looked at each other. As soon as Sun Li pressed the button, she heard the sound of running water. Then, Li Yundong's voice came from the other end of the line. Hey, I'm taking a shower. What are you doing in here? Don't come any closer, you idiot. That thing will break if it touches water." Feng Na and Sun Li were furious, but they burst into laughter when they heard Li Yundong's voice. The girls who were putting on makeup and changing clothes next to them also crowded around them. "It's your classmate," Suchan said. "You think I want to come in here and watch you take a shower? So ugly. So hairy. So hairy." The girls around the line burst into laughter when they heard Su Chan's words. Li Yundong's voice grew more and more surprised. Hey! Why is there laughter on the other end of the line? Hey, I'm scared of you. Get out. Hey, you idiot. Give me the phone and get out. Feng Na and Sun Li laughed until Li Yundong's voice came from the other end of the line. Hey, Li Yundong. Sun Li yelled into the other end of the line. It's you again, class rep? Li Yundong's voice was gloomy. What do you mean it's me again? Sun Li said angrily. Do you know what's going on at our school tonight? Oh, Li Yundong said. It's just an exchange party with some pen or fania or something. Feng Na could not hold it in any longer. She yelled into the phone. You still remember? Hurry up and come to school. I want to, Li Yundong said casually. But someone doesn't want me to come. You bastard. Feng Na yelled. I just had an argument with that Mr. Liu. If you don't want me to have another argument with you, then get over here. Li Yundong froze. You had an argument with that teacher? Why? Isn't it because of you? Sun Li asked. Because of me? Li Yundong asked curiously. Feng Na knew that Mr. Liu wouldn't let you into the school, so she had an argument with him. Li Yundong felt a deep sense of respect for Feng Na. I can't thank you enough for your help, Miss Feng. I'll come over as soon as I'm done showering. Feng Na's mood improved a little. Stop showering. Why do you have to be so clean? At least let me wash off the soap bubbles. Li Yundong yelled. Feng Na laughed. Save your soap bubbles. You'll look even more hairy if you wash them off. Chapter 56. However, it was as if the heavens were against him. They were stuck in traffic jams and red lights. Feng Na and Sun Li were as anxious as ants on a hot pan, running around in circles like ants on a hot tin roof. What do we do? What do we do? The next show is coming up. Feng Na was so nervous that her palms were sweaty. She pulled open the curtain backstage and looked outside. She saw that the school auditorium was filled with people. The school leaders and city leaders were all sitting upright in the front row. Call again. Feng Na said anxiously. Sun Li chimed in. I just called. There was a traffic jam. Feng Na pulled at her hair. Oh my God. You're not messing with me, are you? Chung Chung, who had slipped backstage, comforted her. Don't worry. We'll make it. As soon as she finished speaking, the female teacher in charge of program planning walked over and waved the program list. Hey, how's the preparation for your Taekwondo club's program coming along? Feng Na, Sun Li, and Cheng Cheng looked at each other. Teacher Ma, there's still one student who hasn't made it yet. When Teacher Ma heard that, he immediately flew into a rage. What? You're going on stage in 2 minutes? He's not here yet? Are you kidding me? Who's not here? Which faculty? Which cohort? This is simply preposterous. What nonsense! Teacher Ma. Sun Li explained hurriedly. There was a traffic jam on the way. Is that even a reason? Teacher Ma said. Today is the most important day since the founding of the university. As a student of Tiannan University, I can't believe he ran away. That's ridiculous. What's his name? Feng Na saw that the situation was not good. She glanced around and suddenly saw Zhuang Hui, who was gloating at her not far away. She had an idea and said, Teacher Ma, our people will be here soon. Why don't you let the other programs take over first? Teacher Ma scolded her for a while, then turned to Zhuang Hui. Zhuang Hui, move your program forward. Hurry up and get ready to go on stage. Zhuang Hui was shocked and angry. Teacher Ma, our program is the finale. The veins on Teacher Ma's neck were bulging. What finale? Our program is about to collapse. Hurry up and cut the crap. Why don't all of you not go on stage? I'll let the host announce the end of the evening party. Let's all die together, okay? Zhuang Hui panted and glared at Feng Na, but Feng Na looked away, pretending not to see it. Zhuang Hui threw the makeup box in her hand and said to the partners around her, Get ready to go on stage. Teacher Ma watched as Zhuang Hui and the others went on stage when the host was announcing. She said coldly, That student of yours had better hurry up. Otherwise, humph. With that, she flicked her sleeves and left. Sun Li and Feng Na looked at each other. Feng Na sighed. What should we do now? Sun Li clenched her fists and stomped her feet. That Li Yundong is such a jerk. But right at this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. Hey, I worked so hard to get here. How dare you scold me behind my back? Li Yundong stood at the entrance of the backstage and said loudly. Sun Li and Feng Na turned to look at him. They immediately pounced on him and started kicking and punching him. You bastard! You idiot! You still know how to show up? At that moment, the other members of the Taekwondo club who had been waiting anxiously for Li Yundong to show up backstage cheered. Even the upperclassmen who hated Li Yundong's flamboyant behavior were beaming with joy. Hurry up and get changed, Feng Na said, grabbing a Taekwondo outfit from the side and tossing it at Li Yundong. Li Yundong hugged the Taekwondo outfit and was shoved into the changing room. After changing, he straightened his collar and looked at the color of the belt around his waist. Black belt? It's Zhao Yujian's, Feng Na said casually. I'm borrowing it. Li Yundong laughed. He'll probably die of anger if he sees this. Sun Li said, I don't know if he'll die of anger or not, but I do know that you've pissed us all off. Li Yundong chuckled. Didn't I make it in time? He waved at Su Chan, gesturing for her to find a seat and wait for him. Su Chan smiled at him and sat down obediently in a corner of the room. By then, Feng Na and the rest of the girls had calmed down and were quietly waiting for Li Yundong to go on stage. Meanwhile, the other girls were sneaking glances at Li Yundong. They felt that he looked extraordinarily masculine and handsome in his black and white Taekwondo uniform. They started whispering to each other. Hey, I heard that hairy men are really strong. What do you mean? Hey, stop acting tough. You'll get struck by lightning if you act tough. Stop playing dumb. Hee, just look at him and you can tell that he's strong. That eyebrow, that look in his eyes. Tesese. It's like he's going to eat someone alive. I wonder if his girlfriend can take it. Hey, you little slut. You've fallen for him, haven't you? His girlfriend can't take it anymore. Why don't you volunteer yourself to help him out? You're the one who should help others out. Hee, having fun with others is having fun with yourself. After saying this, the surrounding girls all giggled. The girls laughed and caused a commotion. They thought that Li Yundong wouldn't hear them because they were whispering. But little did they know that Li Yundong had mastered qi refinement. His hearing and eyes were sharp, and he could hear every word they said. Li Yundong didn't know what to do with these bold and unrestrained women. His face was burning, but he muttered in his heart, I just kissed my girl. I didn't do anything else. Just as he was grumbling to himself, Feng Na nudged him from behind. Hey, it's time to go on stage, she said. Li Yundong's heart skipped a beat. He trotted onto the stage from backstage. As soon as he entered the stage, he was greeted by applause, cheers, and whistles. The colorful lights on the stage shone on him, making it hard for him to open his eyes. When he finally got used to the lights and opened his eyes, he saw a sea of wriggling heads below him. In the front row, there were more than a dozen blonde foreigners. There were men and women, old and young. They must be the students and teachers of the University of Pennsylvania, who had come to Tiannan University for an exchange. Li Yundong's heart was thumping wildly under the gaze of thousands of pairs of eyes below the stage. Fortunately, he was no longer the ordinary otaku he used to be. Otherwise, his legs would have turned to jelly. Li Yundong took a deep breath and stood calmly in front of the members of the Taekwondo club. He bowed to the audience. The students and teachers below the stage were sizing up the handsome masculine boy. The foreigners of the University of Pennsylvania were also staring at Li Yundong curiously and whispering to each other. Suddenly, a wooden stick hit Li Yundong's head from behind. But Li Yundong didn't seem to feel it at all. The people below the stage saw it clearly and let out a cry of surprise at the same time. But just as the stick was about to hit Li Yundong's head, Li Yundong suddenly squatted down, spun his feet, twisted his body, and hit the waist and abdomen of the attacker behind him with his elbow. Not only did he dodge the stick, but he also fought back. Oh! There was a burst of praise from the audience. Just as they were about to applaud Li Yundong's response, the students of the Taekwondo club around him suddenly shouted and picked up the wooden sticks in their hands to hit Li Yundong. At this time, the teachers and students below the stage couldn't help but feel nervous. In their eyes, there were wooden sticks in all directions. How could Li Yundong dodge? But Li Yundong didn't dodge. His legs flew up and down like a tomahawk, and his arms swung like a meteor. Foot blade, front chop, side chop, back hanging kick, double leg kick, air somersault roundhouse kick. One move after another was used. On the stage, the sound of wooden sticks breaking could be heard continuously. The audience below the stage could only see two long legs in white trousers so fast that they were almost too much to take in. Every time a white shadow flashed, a wooden stick would be broken. Li Yundong's legs were so fast and fierce that some people below the stage couldn't even tell which leg he was using. At this time, everyone below the stage realized that this was the highlight of the program. They all applauded and cheered loudly. Every time Li Yundong broke a wooden stick, they cheered loudly. When the last wooden stick was about to hit Li Yundong suddenly kicked his opponent's hand, sending the stick tumbling in the air. Li Yundong didn't even look at the tumbling stick. With a stomp of his foot, his body seemed to soar into the air like he was riding on a cloud. With a kick, he broke the wooden stick that was tumbling in the air with a loud crack. This kick instantly caused the audience to gasp in surprise. Even Zhou Yu and his Xueqi Huafei, who had been watching coldly from the sidelines, were moved. As the saying goes, amateurs watch for the excitement, while experts watch for the artistry. Li Yundong fought one against many on the stage. His kicks were clean and full of power, drawing cheers from the audience. Zhou Yu and Huafei, on the other hand, looked at him with disdain. This kind of wooden stick kicking performance was prearranged. As long as one had the strength to break a wooden stick and was skilled in leg kung fu, anyone could perform it. But Li Yundong's kick just now had broken a wooden stick that was tumbling in the air. That was not a simple feat. Previously, the wooden stick had been held by a human hand, so it was easy to break it with a kick. However, the wooden stick that was rolling in the air had no place to exert any force, but Li Yundong had kicked it and broken it with one kick. What kind of terrifying explosive power was that? Zhou Yu and Huafei exchanged a look, their eyes filled with shock. That's impossible. Zhou Yu thought for a moment, then said decisively, the wooden stick must have been broken and then stained. Otherwise, even Master wouldn't be able to break a wooden stick that's less than a meter long that's tumbling in the air. Huafei shook his head slowly. Not necessarily. Judging from the strength of his kick and the sound of the wooden stick breaking, it doesn't seem like it was faked. Zhou Yu's eyes were filled with worry. Then Xixiang, I think we shouldn't go up there? Huafei smiled coldly and adjusted the diamond bracelet on his arm. So what if he's strong? Is an ox strong? Since when have you ever seen an ox eat a wolf? Just you wait. I'm going to give him an internal injury and turn him into a cripple in 3 years. Zhou Yu relaxed and sneered at Li Yundong, who was standing on the stage like a star. The teachers and students in the school's auditorium were cheering loudly. Even the foreigners from the distant Pacific Ocean were shocked by Li Yundong's performance. They stood up one by one, clapping and whistling. Chapter 57. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the highlight of tonight's exchange. The hostess announced in a passionate voice. The female host said in a passionate voice, Student Huafei from Tiannan University Wushu Club and Li Yundong from Taekwondo Club will be giving us a live performance. Then, she translated Huang Huafei's words in English. The foreigners in the audience cheered excitedly. The college students in the auditorium had only ever seen this kind of sparring in movies. They had never seen it in real life. Therefore, they also cheered excitedly. The atmosphere was even livelier than before. Teacher Ma, who was in charge of the program backstage, was secretly delighted. Fortunately, this performance was the finale. Otherwise, if they had waited until the end of the program and then performed the song and dance, how could they have achieved such an effect? Although Zhuang Hui was not convinced, she had a good impression of Li Yundong, who was full of masculinity. Especially after watching Li Yundong's performance backstage just now, her eyes had been filled with stars. Now that she heard that there was going to be an actual battle, she was so excited that she clapped and cheered. Her dance partners rolled their eyes and shook their heads inwardly, thinking, she's really a man who doesn't care about his partner. After the hostess introduced Huang Huafei to the stage, Huang Huafei took a step forward and leaped onto the stage, which was more than a meter high. This immediately caused these foreigners who were very curious about Chinese kung fu to whistle loudly. A blonde foreigner who was clapping in his seat said to a blonde girl next to him, Chris, didn't you say that you know everything about China? Can you tell what kind of kung fu this guy practices? Although Chris had long wavy blonde hair, her face was small and delicate, and her facial features were exquisite. Her appearance was very much in line with the aesthetics of the East, especially her deep-set eyes, high nose, and skin as white as snow. She was full of exotic charm, attracting many men's attention. Chris seemed to be used to this kind of attention. She clapped her hands and said to her partner, "Tom, you practice kung fu yourself. Why are you asking me? Are you testing me? Well, look at the iron ring on this guy's arm. That means he practices iron wire boxing." Tom asked, "Iron wire punch? Never heard of it." Chris teased. "You call yourself a kung fu fan? You won the Pennsylvania State Martial Arts Championship for nothing." Iron wire boxing is a popular boxing technique in Cantonese, China. You know Hong Quan, right? Tom gasped. Hong Quan? Professor Zhao Jiling taught him? Oh my god, he practices Hong Quan? Oh my god, why wasn't I the one who fought him? The owner of the tailor shop who practiced iron wire punch in the movie Kung Fu was Zhao Jiling, who was once as famous as Bruce Lee in the American martial arts world. Zhao Jiling taught Hong Quan in the United States. He was so famous that everyone in the American martial arts world knew him. Chris knew that this companion of hers was a huge fighting fan who loved all the fighting techniques in this world. What he loved the most was to spar with people of all schools. Chris knew that her partner was a kung fu fan. Kung fu fan. He loved all in Huafei's and kung fu of martial fighting kung battle. And in kung fu and yang. No one knew where Tiannan University had heard about this, but they had given special permission for Li Yundong and Bai Huafei to perform on stage. Chris shook her head and said, "Iron thread fist is the highest type of fist in Hong Quan. Together with the tiger taming fist and the tiger and crane double forms, they are known as the three treasures of Hong Quan. You might not be his match." Tom shrugged his shoulders disapprovingly. "Not necessarily. However, Chris, you really are an expert in China. You actually know so much. Amazing. It's so good to have a grandmother of Chinese descent." Chris didn't comment. She just looked at the stage. "Tom, you're an expert. Who do you think will win?" Without thinking, Tom said, "Iron wire fist." The corners of Chris's mouth curled up. Clearly, Tom's guess was the same as hers. She asked why. Tom said, "Look at this guy who practices iron wire punch. The deltoids on his back are bulging, and the muscles on his arms are like steel bars. God, they are all tendons. The explosive power is terrifying. Bruce Lee's body was full of such muscles. Plus, he has iron rings on his arms. If he gets hit, it's going to hurt like hell." Tom pointed at Li Yundong. "Look at the guy on the other side. He looked good, but except for that last kick, the rest of his kung fu was just fancy moves. Plus, there's no killing intent in this guy's eyes. He obviously hasn't experienced any real combat. I think he's going to lose." Chris secretly agreed with Tom's judgment, but she smiled and said, "Maybe the Chinese have already arranged the outcome of this match. Let's not make wild guesses." "You're the one who's supposed to guess," Tom muttered. "And now you're the one who's supposed to guess again. As the president of the student council, you sure have a lot of privileges." Chris smiled at Tom's grumbling, but didn't say anything. She just kept her eyes on the stage. On the stage, as soon as Bai Huafei stepped onto the stage, he straightened his legs, bent his right knee, clenched his right hand into a fist, and formed a palm with his left hand. Then, he lifted his palm to his right chest and under his armpit, as if he was saluting with cupped hands. This move was the iron thread fists, greeting the bridge hand. The greeting gesture meant saluting and opening the fist, and the hanging feet meant bowing and paying respect. It seemed to be a polite and courteous move, but in fact, this move could be used to attack and defend. It was one of the strong moves of Hong Quan. Li Yundong didn't know the secret of this move. Seeing Bai Luofei's politeness, he followed suit and bowed. But when Bai Luofei saw Li Yundong bowing, his eyes suddenly widened. He stomped his right foot, and with a snap, he leaped into the air and kicked at Li Yundong's head with his left foot. Because of Li Yundong's previous experience of being ambushed, the audience thought that this move had been prearranged. Not a single person was worried. Instead, they applauded Bai Luofei's agility. Li Yundong's chi was so strong that he heard the sound of the wind rushing toward him. He subconsciously took a step back and quickly retreated. Bai Luofei knew that Li Yundong's strength was terrifying, so he wouldn't let his opponent off easily. He twisted his hands and clenched them into fists. "Ha!" he shouted, and then immediately punched upward, aiming for Li Yundong's chest and head. This was the iron wire punches, two tigers' hidden steps. When he threw out these two punches, the iron rings on his forearms surged. Coupled with his shout, it was truly a ferocious attack with an astonishing momentum. Li Yundong had never practiced martial arts before. Although he had the Jindan's qi in his body, and he had fought with a gangster with a long knife, those gangsters were not martial artists. But those gangsters were not martial artists, and Li Yundong could barely be considered a person who knew kung fu at the time. Those who had kung fu fighting those who did not have kung fu was no different from shooting a human target. As a result, sparring with Bai Luofei was a completely different experience. The first thing Li Yundong felt was the intense murderous aura emanating from Bai Huaifei. Compared to Zhao Yujian, who was as gentle as a virgin, Li Yundong couldn't help but feel the murderous aura emanating from him. Li Yundong didn't know how to deal with such a fierce move, so he could only step back. Bai Luofei immediately retracted his fists after missing both of his punches. He took a step forward and raised his fists from his back to his chest. Then, he loosened his fingers and opened his fists to form a cutting palm. Like a sword, he slashed at Li Yundong's shoulders. At the same time, he exhaled and shouted, "Double swords cutting the bridge." Bai Luofei's shout was so loud that the applause and cheers of the audience couldn't drown it out. The audience felt that he was like a pine when he was quiet, but when he moved, he was like a ferocious tiger. He truly had the demeanor of a martial arts master. These college students had never seen a real martial arts master like Bai Luofei before. They were so excited that they couldn't control themselves. Little did they know that a real fight was taking place on the stage. Tom, who was sitting in the audience, was a martial arts expert himself. He could tell what was going on. Bai Luofei's two moves had him trembling in fear. Amazing! Amazing! Zhou Qin, Feng Na, and Zhuang Hui, who had a good impression of Li Yundong, couldn't help but clench their fists. They were afraid that Bai Luofei's punch would land on Li Yundong. Su Chan, who had been nonchalant all this time, couldn't help but put her guard up. She thought that Li Yundong would be able to handle an opponent like this easily. But now, she realized that even though Bai Luofei wasn't a cultivator, there was still a soft force hidden within his punches and kicks. If Bai Luofei managed to land a hit, the soft force would rush into Li Yundong's body and destroy his meridians and internal organs, causing internal injuries. Just because a cultivator was a cultivator didn't mean that they were invincible. If they allowed a martial arts master to hit them in the vital parts of their body, they would still die. This principle was the same as if a martial arts master was hit on the back of the head by a weak woman with a brick, and he would also fall to the ground immediately. Su Chan stared at the stage for a while. "Yundong, fight back!" she yelled. Li Yundong was forced into a corner by Bai Luofei. He couldn't help but ask, "How do I fight back?" Su Chan shouted, "Go straight in! Go straight in!" Li Yundong suddenly had a glimmer of understanding. He remembered the feeling when he was practicing qi with Su Chan's help. The feeling of the qi in his body being connected up and down. At this time, Bai Luofei had already chased after Li Yundong and made several moves. The old monk carries the burden, swan wings, left and right inch bridge, the great immortal cupped hands, Qin Qiong's mace, and so on. They were all close combat skills. As long as Bai Luofei hit him, Li Yundong would suffer internal injuries. Although Li Yundong didn't know how to deal with these moves, he kept retreating. As long as he kept retreating, Bai Luofei wouldn't be able to hit him no matter how fierce the killer moves were. Luo Yunfei was a little anxious after failing to hit Li Yunyang with a few moves. He had clearly heard the conversation between Li Yunyang and Su Chan. His heart trembled and he didn't dare to delay any longer. He was thinking about how to force Li Yunyang to fight with him. But at this time, Li Yundong suddenly stopped moving. He was overjoyed. The horse under his feet didn't move, and he moved his palms down to his ears. His palms were facing down, and then he clenched them into 3 fists. With a whoosh, he punched out and let out a wild roar. This roar was really like the roar of a tiger. Coupled with the clanging sound of the diamond rings on his forearms, it was like the roar of a dragon. What a tiger roar and dragon roar! China Tun Chris couldn't help but sigh. Her eyes lit up. Bai Luofei's move was amazing. Almost everyone thought that Li Yundong wouldn't be able to block it and would definitely retreat. But at this moment, Li Yundong took a deep breath. The qi in his body surged up from the lower dantian, through the heart of the middle dantian, to the brain of the upper dantian. At this time, all three dantians were boiling, and the qi was connected. The qi in all the meridians in Li Yundong's body seemed to be activated, all of them surging. Li Yundong felt as if he had endless strength. Even if there was a mountain of knives or a sea of fire in front of him, he could still go straight through with one punch. It was as easy as taking the head of a general from an army of thousands. Whoosh! Li Yundong punched out, and the majestic qi in his body instantly rushed to his upper arm, then to his forearm, and then to his fist. 3 clear popping sounds came from his arm like firecrackers. Finally, the qi formed a powerful airflow, whizzing out of Li Yundong's fist and flying toward Bai Luofei, who was more than a meter away from him. One qi connected, straight forward. Bai Luofei felt a fierce qi rushing toward him. He subconsciously blocked it with his fists, and then his whole body was sent flying. Chapter 58. Although Li Yundong had only practiced a little bit of taekwondo, he had Jin Dan Yuanqi. Even an ordinary move like Black Tiger Steals the Heart was a powerful killing move. His punch had sent Luo Yunfei flying through the air. Everyone in the auditorium gasped in shock. Their minds went blank. How is that possible? That was the only thought in everyone's mind. Flying through the air? This wasn't some supernatural movie. After a brief moment of silence, Luo Yunfei stumbled to his feet from the stage. He stared at Li Yundong in shock and fear, as if he couldn't believe what had just happened. His lips trembled as he bowed slightly to Li Yundong. Then, he leaped off the stage and walked away. Zhou Yu caught up to Luo Yunfei in shock. "Senior brother, what are you doing?" he asked in a hushed voice. "Shut up." Luo Yunfei's voice was laced with an indescribable fear. His voice was trembling. "We've run into a cultivation master who pretends to be a pig to eat a tiger. Don't look back. Let's go. We're no match for him." Zhou Yu chased after Luo Yunfei until they were out of the auditorium. He grabbed Luo Yunfei's arm and asked, "Senior brother, what cultivation master? What are you talking about? I don't understand. You were ambushed just now?" Luo Yunfei snapped his head around and grabbed Zhou Yu by the collar. His eyes were fierce and fierce. "Shut up. I told you not to ask any more questions. Let's go." Bai Yunfei dragged Zhou Yu out of the school compound. It was not until the two of them were in the car that Bai Yunfei breathed a sigh of relief. He turned around and glared at his junior. "How did you get on the wrong side of a cultivator? How dare you drag me down with you?" Zhou Yu was dumbfounded. He had no idea what was going on. "I told you. I don't know anything about a cultivation master. Senior brother, what's wrong with you?" Luo Yunfei stared at Zhou Yu for a moment. Seeing that he was telling the truth, Luo Yunfei turned around and started the car. "Don't ask any more questions. You can't afford to mess with this person. Don't ever mess with him again." As he spoke, Bai Huafei took off the diamond bracelet on his forearm. Only then did Zhou Yu realize that Bai Huafei's attack had left a bruise on his forearm. Zhou Yu sucked in a breath of cold air. He knew how hard these iron rings were, and he also knew that his senior brother's hands were as hard as steel. After wearing the diamond iron rings, even a hammer wouldn't be able to cause such a bruise on his hands. Bai Yunfei took a look at the wound on his hand and shook his head at Zhou Yu. "You drive." The two of them changed seats. Zhou Yu started the car and said unwillingly, "Senior brother, are we just going to let it go? Wouldn't we be ruining Master's reputation?" "Shut up and drive," Bai Yunfei said coldly. "I will get back at them sooner or later, but we can't do it. Master must go to Guangdong to invite the gods." "Invite the gods? Which great expert should we invite?" Zhou Yu asked, but his senior brother turned his head away and looked out the window. He didn't answer, so Zhou Yu didn't pursue the matter. Little did he know that Bai Yunfei wasn't referring to a martial arts expert, but a cultivator who specialized in the spirit possession art. Bai Yunfei and Zhou Yu left in a hurry like stray dogs, but the school's auditorium was in chaos. After a brief moment of silence, the audience suddenly booed. "Fake fight. Fake fight." How could they not boo? The two of them were more than a meter apart, and they sent their opponent flying with a single punch? If it wasn't fake, then there would be no such thing as fake football in China. The foreigner John's voice was especially loud. "That's fake. The Chinese always know how to fake things. Fortunately, he was speaking in English, or he would have been beaten up by the crowd. Chris frowned and reached out to tug at John. Hey, this is China. Watch your language. I thought I'd get to see real kung fu, John said disdainfully. Who would have thought I'd get to see such a fake performance? Disgusting. After saying that, John suddenly became excited and rushed up to the stage with a whoosh. Chris covered her eyes with her hands, as if she couldn't bear to watch. The teacher beside her shouted John's name at the top of his lungs, but John didn't listen. Chris groaned. God, who agreed to let this idiot come to China with us? At this time, Li Yundong was confused by the boos from the audience. Just as he was wondering what was going on, he suddenly saw a blonde foreigner about 185 meters tall jump onto the stage. Li Yundong could tell at a glance that he was a martial artist. Why is there another one? Li Yundong frowned. The MC, who was trying to smooth things over on stage, was dumbfounded. She watched as the burly man took off his jacket, revealing a body of toned muscles. She didn't know what to say. John crooked his finger at the beautiful MC, who was in a daze. When she came over, he took the microphone and spoke to Li Yundong in English. Li Yundong's English was terrible. How could he understand the fast-talking American English? He stared at the female MC, who glanced at the nervous teachers in the audience as if asking for help. But the teachers couldn't rush up to the stage and drag John off, could they? So when the female MC looked at them, they all looked away and pretended not to see her. The female MC had no choice but to take the microphone and translate to Li Yundong. He said his name is John Shirt, and he loves fighting. He wants to make friends with you through martial arts. Make friends through martial arts. Li Yundong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This wasn't part of the plan. Li Yundong's hesitation made John even more certain that he was faking it. John couldn't help but provoke him. What's the point of faking it, Chinese? Come and beat me if you can. I think the kung fu of you Chinese people is just for show. Li Yundong didn't understand what the MC was saying, but the beautiful MC did. She suddenly felt a common hatred for the enemy and said to Li Yundong in a low voice. He said he looks down on you in Chinese kung fu. Hey, it was a civil war just now. Even if you win, it won't be glorious. Now you're pointing a gun at an outsider. Why don't you win some glory for our country? Before Li Yundong could agree, the beautiful MC walked to the side of the stage and bent down to the teacher who was waving at her. The two of them were talking about something. After a while, the beautiful MC came over and whispered with a smile. Your political task is here. The teacher said that you can fight, but you have to take care of the face of your foreign friend and don't hurt him. When Li Yundong heard this, he was angry. Do these officials only care about foreigners? He can hurt me, but I can't hurt him? Li Yundong thought of the school's previous behavior of worshipping foreigners. He felt disgusted, as if he had eaten a fly. He sneered in his heart and made up his mind to teach this arrogant foreigner a lesson. At the same time, he would embarrass the leaders a little. Li Yundong nodded to the MC beside him. I see. The beautiful MC whispered to Li Yundong. Come on. I support you. Li Yundong smiled at her, then turned his eyes to Hardadef, who had been eager to fight. Hardadef whispered a few words to the female MC, nodded, then walked up to Li Yundong and held out his fist to show his respect. Li Yundong looked up at the foreigner in front of him and saw that he had a provocative and disdainful look on his face, as if he couldn't wait to knock him down. The teachers below the stage were all full of regret, secretly regretting that they had put a martial arts competition at the end. Now, if he were to casually injure any one of them, it wouldn't be a good thing. The teachers were worried, but the students didn't care about this. They shouted heartlessly. Those who had strong patriotism loudly supported Li Yundong, and those who thought that the previous fight was exaggerated supported John to expose Li Yundong's true colors. Hardadef jumped on the spot and observed Li Yundong's posture. He saw that the boy was standing in the same place with his eyes lowered. His footsteps were not steady at all, like a tree without roots. His hands were placed vertically in front of him, and his whole body was full of openings. Hardadef sneered and muttered, Chinese, I'll let you know what real fighting is. After saying that, he roared, stepped forward, and pounced on Li Yundong like a tiger. When Li Yundong saw Hardadef's body move, he suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes flashed like lightning, and he threw a straight punch at Hardadef with a whoosh. At this time, Hardadef's feet had left the ground, and he was pouncing in Li Yundong's direction. The distance between them was even farther than before. The wind from Li Yundong's punch hit Hardadef's chest, and he was sent flying straight to the backstage. Wow! The audience suddenly burst into an uproar. This time, everyone clearly saw that Hardadef's whole body was pouncing on Li Yundong. His body was in the air, and his feet were off the ground. It was impossible for him to change his direction, but he still flew out horizontally. What did this mean? Did it mean that Li Yundong had qigong? It can't be that exaggerated, can it? Everyone on and off the stage was shocked. Only Xueqi laughed out loud. She walked over to Hardadef, who had fallen to the ground, and looked at the blonde foreigner curiously. But when she looked at him a little, her face suddenly changed. She immediately turned Hardadef over and used her hand to check his pulse. Xueqi's face was as white as a sheet. This guy's heart stopped beating. He was killed by Li Yundong with one punch. Xueqi was shocked and scared. She didn't dare to imagine what their lives would be like after Li Yundong killed someone. Will he be taken away? Then what should I do? Xueqi's heart was cold. After a little panic, she calmed down. Just as she was about to use magic to save the man, she saw a blonde woman suddenly rushing over from the backstage. After rushing backstage, Chris saw Hardadef lying on the ground with his eyes closed, motionless. Her heart skipped a beat, and she rushed over to check his pulse. Suddenly, her beautiful face turned pale. She looked up at Li Yundong, who was walking over, and shouted, "You killed him!" She spoke in native Chinese, but the accent was a little strange. Li Yundong was also shocked. He quickly walked up to Hardadef and checked his nose. Sure enough, there was no breath at all. Chapter 59. Chris was beating Hardadef's heart with her hands and giving him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. She was so nervous that her forehead was covered with beads of sweat. At this time, Xueqi had completely calmed down. She came to Li Yundong's side, took his hand and whispered, "Yundong, three-pronged flower." After holding Xueqi's hand, Li Yundong suddenly felt relieved. It seemed that as long as this girl was by his side, he would have nothing to fear. Li Yundong turned his head and whispered, "Will the three-pronged flower work?" Xueqi nodded with certainty. "It will work. I will watch from the side. Do it boldly." With Xueqi's encouragement, Li Yundong calmed down. He walked up to Chris and said in a low voice, "Let me do it." As soon as Chris looked up, anger rose in her heart. She shouted, "Murderer! What else do you want?" Li Yundong pointed at Hardadef. "I can save him," Chris said angrily. "He's not breathing. How are you going to save him?" Li Yundong stared at Chris and said firmly, "You can't, but I can. Get out of the way." Seeing that Li Yundong spoke calmly and his eyes were calm and confident, Chris couldn't help but be awed by his bearing and make way for him. Li Yundong helped Hardadef up and into a sitting position. Then, according to the method Xueqi had taught him, he pressed on Hardadef's Bai Hui, Shen Ting, and Taiyang acupoints. Li Yundong secretly urged the qi in his body to flow to his fingertips. As soon as the qi in his body flowed, it was like the roaring of mountains and rivers. After a while, a faint white qi came out of the top of his head. Some sharp-eyed people around pointed at Li Yundong's head and wanted to shout, but the people next to them covered their mouths for fear of disturbing Li Yundong. Chris didn't notice Li Yundong's abnormality at this time. She just stared at Hardadef. The reason why Hardadef's heart suddenly stopped beating was because the wind from Li Yundong's punch had hit his chest exactly where his heart was, causing his heart to stop. Previously, Bai Huifei had blocked it with the diamond ring on his arm and was injured, let alone Hardadef. In the West, to determine whether a person was dead or alive, they often looked at whether a person was still breathing, heartbeat, pulse, or whether they had brainwaves. But in traditional Chinese medicine, under the condition that a person's body was not damaged, there was only one standard to determine whether a person was dead or alive, and that was to see whether there was any vitality in his body, or whether there was any primordial qi in his body. Li Yundong used the three-pronged flower technique to probe it, and immediately found that the qi reaction in John's body was still strong. He immediately increased his qi, and the yuan-yang in John's body was violently stimulated and instantly transferred up. Once the body's essence was mobilized, the aura would automatically cause the blood to flow. When the blood flowed to the heart, the impact of the blood would cause the heart to expand before automatically contracting. John came back to life at once. Hiss. John suddenly opened his eyes and took a deep breath. He clutched his chest and coughed continuously. He's alive, he's alive. The backstage was filled with jubilation. The nervous people around Li Yundong breathed a sigh of relief. Su Chan patted her chest with a look of relief on her face. Feng Na and the others also secretly wiped away the cold sweat on their foreheads. They looked at Li Yundong with admiration, all of them admiring the boy's composure in the face of death. Chris also breathed a sigh of relief. She drew a cross on her chest and prayed inwardly. Then she looked at John carefully and said loudly, "You idiot! How are you feeling now?" John clutched his chest and coughed painfully. "What happened to me?" Chris looked at him with a mixture of anger and amusement. "You were sent flying by a punch. Your heart stopped beating just now, but he saved you." Chris pointed at Li Yundong, who was standing beside her. John's face was full of confusion. Obviously, he didn't understand what had happened just now. He shook his head like a rattledrum and said in English, "That's impossible. I remember I didn't get close to him. How did he send me flying?" Chris glanced at Li Yundong with an inexplicable awe in her eyes. She lowered her voice and said to Hardadef, "He sent you flying with one punch while you were still in the air. What I mean is, before you could even touch him, he had already sent you flying from a distance of 1 or 2 meters. Just like the man who practiced iron wire boxing just now." John's eyes were about to fall out of his sockets. He shook his head like a rattledrum. "Impossible. How is that possible?" Chris said, "My grandmother said that China is full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. There are all kinds of amazing people. Don't doubt it. Everyone saw it with their own eyes. Do you want to compete with him again?" John shook his head even more violently. He was completely convinced by Li Yundong. Although he didn't understand what was going on, the facts were in front of him, and he couldn't help but be convinced. John sat on the ground in a daze for a while. He suddenly thought of some of the martial arts movies he had seen in China before, and an idea suddenly came to his mind. Could this be the so-called Nigong? Was this person really a great master? The more John thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. He suddenly turned over, knelt down in front of Li Yundong, and shouted a Chinese word with American characteristics. "Negative." Li Yundong was caught off guard and froze in place. "Negative? What negative? What is he talking about?" Chris didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She explained, "He's asking you to be his master." Li Yundong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It turned out that foreign devils were all cheap wretches. They wouldn't be convinced if they didn't fight. If they were convinced, they would cry and beg to be his disciple. Li Yundong waved his hand. No, I'm still young. How can I be his master? Besides, the word master doesn't mean negative. Learn the Chinese language well before you come back to be my disciple." John didn't understand a single word that Li Yundong was saying, so he just stared blankly at him. It wasn't easy for him to hear the word master, and now he understood. He nodded vigorously and shouted, "Negative, negative." The people around him burst into laughter when they saw him like this. At this time, some of the university leaders rushed backstage and shouted, "What happened?" When they saw that Hardadef was kneeling in front of Li Yundong, they thought that Li Yundong had done something to the foreign friend. Just as they were about to get angry, Chris smiled at them and explained, "Hardadef wants to be apprenticed to this friend, but he doesn't agree." When the university leaders heard this, they immediately felt relieved and secretly looked at Li Yundong approvingly. They thought that something big had happened. Fortunately, nothing happened. Not bad. This kid has brought glory to the university. Principal Ku, who was in charge of tonight's party, was relieved. He said to Li Yundong, "Student, why don't you just accept this foreigner as your disciple? It will be a good story in Tiannan University in the future." For a moment, both teachers and students smiled and agreed. Li Yundong also hesitated. He didn't want to agree to this matter. First, he had nothing to teach this foreigner. His chi was taught by Su Chan. Second, he didn't know how to teach her. But if he didn't agree, it didn't seem right now. Su Chan saw Li Yundong's hesitation and was afraid that he would agree. She couldn't help but lean over and whisper, "Yundong, don't agree." Li Yundong whispered, "Why?" Su Chan's face was solemn. How can the country's treasures be passed on to foreigners? Li Yundong was taken aback for a moment, but he quickly realized that Su Chan was referring to the massage and qi cultivation methods that she had taught him before. Even though he thought that Su Chan's words were a little outdated and sounded like she was stuck in a rut, she still had a great influence on him. Now that the girl had mentioned it, Li Yundong had an idea. Li Yundong said, "I can't accept a master now. If I can do it casually, it will be too improper and not dignified. I have to ask my master first." At this time, Headmaster Ko already knew that Li Yundong was a great master who didn't show his face. He couldn't help but ask, "Then who is your master?" Li Yundong deliberately pretended to be embarrassed and didn't say anything. Headmaster Ko was old and wise, so he immediately understood and didn't force the issue. He said to Chris, "You heard it. I also think it's better to be dignified. After all, it's not a small matter to be an apprentice in our country." Chris nodded, pulled John up, and said in English, "Get up. He thinks that your Chinese is too poor, so he won't accept you." John stood up and said loudly, "I can learn, I will work hard." After saying that, he gritted his teeth and tried to correct his pronunciation, but this time, he shouted, "Negative, negative." When the people around him saw his appearance, they all burst into laughter. Li Yundong had thought that the foreigner was arrogant before, but now it seemed that he was a straightforward person, which was cute. He waved his hand and said to John with a smile, "When you learn the Chinese language, you can come and take me as your master." After that, Chris suddenly came up to him, blinked at him, and whispered, "I can speak the Chinese language. Can you accept me as your disciple?" Although she had said this in a low voice, the people around them heard it clearly. For a moment, all kinds of eyes were looking at Li Yundong. The girls thought to themselves, "This foreign horse really knows how to take advantage of others." The boys looked at Li Yundong with envy and jealousy. What kind of luck does this guy have with women? Why does all the beautiful women want to be with him? This foreign girl is very hot. Li Yundong was stunned by Chris's question. He found that he had been pushed into a corner by Chris. A trace of pride flashed in Chris's eyes. She thought to herself, "Didn't you say that I can be apprenticed as long as I can speak the Chinese language? Humph, you have to accept me this time, right?" The Chinese placed great importance on apprenticeship. Heaven, earth, emperor, master, heaven, earth, emperor, and parents were the most important. But foreigners didn't care about this. In their eyes, apprenticeship was as common as hiring a tutor, so Chris did it without hesitation. Li Yundong saw that Chris had no sincerity at all. She just wanted to tease him, unlike John, who sincerely wanted to be apprenticed. He felt a little unhappy, so he said, "There is a rule in my sect that only men can be apprenticed, not women." As soon as his voice fell, there was a burst of laughter, and some boys applauded. Chapter 60. Chris thought that Li Yundong's excuse was too convincing. There was no way to refute it. She had been living a luxurious life since she was a child. It could be said that she had grown up with a golden spoon in her mouth. She was beautiful, tall, and sexy. Wherever she went, she would be surrounded and flattered by men. Who would have thought that she would be angered to the point where she could not step down? Chris couldn't take it anymore. She gritted her teeth for a while, stamped her feet, turned around, and rushed out of the backstage. At this time, the school leaders in the backstage also knew that there was nothing to worry about. A tragedy that could have happened turned into a cleanup. It could be said that everyone was happy. Seeing that tonight's party was a success, Headmaster Ku said kindly to Li Yundong, "Bring them up later. Mayor Luo will meet you. Don't embarrass our university." Although Li Yundong didn't think much of it, he still nodded politely. The university leaders filed out of the room in satisfaction, leaving only the burly John behind to pester Li Yundong. John had no idea what Chris had said to Li Yundong. He just kept shouting at Li Yundong, "Eat, eat," and then a long string of gibberish in English. Although Li Yundong's English wasn't good, it was obvious that he was begging to be accepted as a disciple. Feng Na's English was good. She smiled and whispered to Li Yundong, "This foreigner is begging you to teach him Chinese. He said that after he learned Chinese from you, he will learn Kung Fu from you." Li Yundong smiled and said, "This foreigner is very persistent. Tell him that he hasn't been here for long enough to teach him a few words of Chinese." Feng Na smiled and translated for John. Seeing that there was an interpreter next to him, John was overjoyed. He grabbed Feng Na's hand and said a long string of things while gesturing. Feng Na couldn't stand the enthusiasm of the foreigner. She quickly pulled her hand back and quietly took half a step back. Then, she translated the words to Li Yundong. He said that teaching him a little is a little, and he will work hard to learn. Li Yundong laughed. How can that be? Who learns Chinese like this? Besides, he will go back to the United States in 2 days. When he goes back, he will forget about the apprenticeship. It's useless to learn Kung Fu in a few days. It will take a long time, at least a few years. As soon as Feng Na translated his words, Hardadef started yelling again with his eyes wide open. Helpless, Li Yundong turned to look at Feng Na. Feng Na smiled and said, he said that he would apply to study at Tiannan University as an international exchange student, as long as Tiannan University accepts him as a disciple. After Feng Na finished translating, she patted Li Yundong on the shoulder and said with a smile, Not bad, you have a die-hard foreign fan. Looks like choosing you as my idol was a wise decision. From now on, I'll be the senior sister of your fan club. Chung Cheng, who was at the side, immediately added, the handsome and elegant sect leader and the beautiful eldest senior sister. They are a good match. Feng Na's face immediately turned red. She glared at Chung Cheng in embarrassment and anger. What nonsense are you talking about? Li Yundong could hear the ambiguity in her words and couldn't help but glance at Feng Na. Although Feng Na had a round face, she looked cute and sweet. When she was shy, she had a unique charm of a young girl. But at this time, Li Yundong's whole body and mind were focused on Su Chan. He just glanced at her and naturally looked away, not showing the slightest sign of being attracted. Although Feng Na was shy, she had been carefully observing Li Yundong's expression and eyes. She saw that Li Yundong's eyes were clear, without the slightest hint of affection between a man and a woman. She couldn't help but feel disappointed. Li Yundong didn't seem to notice Feng Na's abnormality. He smiled and said, Tell Hardadef that as long as he learns Chinese well, I'll think about it. Li Yundong guessed that this foreigner was just on a whim. There was no way he would go from a first-class university like the University of Pennsylvania to a third-rate university like Tiannan University as an exchange student. But as soon as Hardadef heard Feng Na's translation, his eyes lit up and he pestered Li Yundong to teach him Chinese first. Li Yundong was impatient and annoyed by Hardadef's pestering. He had an idea, and he smiled wickedly and said, Well, I'll teach you a sentence first. This is a sentence that we Chinese say when we greet people. Listen carefully. The surrounding students looked at Li Yundong and Hardadef curiously. Most of them guessed that Li Yundong would probably teach him to say things like, hello and have you eaten? Li Yundong said calmly, Pay attention, this sentence is like this, hello's. The surrounding students immediately hissed. That's what he said. How uncreative. Really, at least be creative. Li Yundong didn't seem to hear the gossip around him. He still said the following 3 words with a calm expression. Big idiot. Wow. This time, the backstage suddenly burst into an uproar. Hello, big idiot? The students backstage were shocked and laughed. Who would greet someone like that? You're going to get into a fight, aren't you? Hardadef vaguely felt that the laughter around him was a little strange, but he was eager to become Li Yundong's disciple. He didn't expect that Li Yundong would play a prank on him and teach him a curse. Seeing that Li Yundong was teaching him seriously, Hardadef also learned very seriously. Greasy how, reach the idiot. Su Chan was the first to lose it. She turned her head and hid in a corner, laughing wildly. After a while, Feng Na and the others finally copied Su Chan's actions and ran away, hiding in a small corner and laughing their hearts out. As the initiator of this prank, Li Yundong almost burst out laughing when he heard Hardadef's serious expression. However, he had always been a mischievous person, so he managed to hold back his laughter. Instead, he pointed out Hardadef's incorrect pronunciation with a serious expression on his face. Hardadef repeated a few lines, and the more he said, the more fluent and excited he became. The more he said, the louder and louder he became. Mud howl, big sand wall. The louder he shouted, the more the students backstage laughed. One by one, they were hovering between life and death. Hardadef was obviously a crazy person. Seeing that these people were all extremely happy, He was also very happy. He kept saying to Li Yundong, "Mud howl, big sand wall." Li Yundong didn't feel it at first, but after listening for a while, he realized that something was wrong. "Hey, isn't he scolding me?" Li Yundong nodded and smiled at Hardadef. Yeah. Hello, big idiot." While the two of them were greeting each other, a teacher suddenly burst into the backstage. He shouted at Li Yundong and the students who were rolling on the ground in laughter. "What are you guys doing? Get on the stage. The city leaders are waiting to see you." The teacher was so anxious that he didn't notice the mistakes in his words at all. As soon as the teacher left, Li Yundong waved his arm and shouted, "Come on, everyone. Let's go meet the city leaders." As soon as he said that, the backstage burst into laughter. Feng Na watched as Li Yundong led the students to the stage. For a moment, she stared at Li Yundong's back in a daze. Beside her, Cheng couldn't help but poke her with her finger. "Hey, if you like him, then take the initiative." Feng Na blushed. "Who likes him?" she said. "He's younger than me. I like older and more mature men." Cheng scratched her cheek with her hand. "You're so shameless. You look like you wanted to eat Li Yundong. You think he's Tang Seng's meat, don't you?" Hee. I bet there were a lot of people here who wanted to eat Tang Seng's meat. Do you want to be a spider spirit or a bone spirit? Pick your pick. Hurry up. Feng Na laughed. "Bah! You're so good at making things up." Feng Na suddenly sighed. "But no matter what kind of spirit you are, who actually got to eat Tang Seng's meat?" Feng Na glanced at Su Chan, who was hiding behind the curtain and peeking at the stage. She smiled bitterly and said, "He has such a beautiful woman by his side, and he's in a favorable position. How could I have a chance?" Cheng's interest waned at Feng Na's words. "Hey, even someone like you doesn't have the courage to go into battle, let alone someone like me. It's not that our army is useless, it's just that the enemy is too strong." Feng Na glanced at Cheng curiously. "You like him too?" Cheng said casually. "Of course. Boys like him are rare nowadays. How could I not like him?" "But Nana, speaking of which, when he was performing on stage, I didn't think he was very handsome, but when he beat John until his heart stopped and then saved him, he was so calm and at ease. He was so damn handsome. If he doesn't have a girlfriend, I'll be the first to snatch him away." Feng Na jumped to her feet. "Well, you slut. You're interested in him, but you're egging me on." Cheng resisted with all her might. "Aren't you one yourself? You obviously like him, but you say you don't. Keep pretending." The two of them laughed for a while. Suddenly, Feng Na saw Xueqi, who had finished touching up her makeup backstage and was walking toward the stage. Feng Na's interest waned. "Forget it," she said. "Even if Li Yundong really doesn't have a girlfriend, the competition is too fierce. I'm afraid Xueqi is also eyeing Tang Seng's meat. Besides, I think Xueqi might have feelings for Li Yundong." Cheng nodded in agreement. She sighed. "God, why is it so difficult to find a man? God, please give me a man. I'll bury him in the ground in the spring, and in the autumn." Feng Na gave her a shove. "You'll be able to harvest a pile of bones in the autumn. Idiot. Don't be silly. Get on the stage." The stage was crowded with students attending the party. At the front stood John with a smile on his face. This foreign friend had volunteered to go on stage and had almost been killed by Li Yundong with his bare hands. Fortunately, the bad thing had turned into a good thing. He had become the most famous person besides Li Yundong. Foreigners advocated individual heroism, so they naturally loved to be in the limelight. Most of them would go crazy when there were people around. Hardadef stood on the stage, his face flushed with excitement. He was itching to give it a try. If it weren't for the fact that there were too many people around, he would probably be performing his punches and kicks right here. When the municipal leader came up to him, he said a few words of concern in Chinese. After listening to the interpreter, John suddenly had an idea and said something to the interpreter in English. The interpreter looked at John in surprise, then said to the leader next to him, "Mayor Luo, this Mr. John said that he just learned a greeting in Chinese, and he wants to learn it for you." When Mayor Luo heard this, he was greatly relieved and put on airs. "Okay, let him say it." Nowadays, more and more foreigners are learning our Chinese, which shows that our international image and status are indeed constantly improving. How could John understand what he was saying? When he saw the interpreter nod at him, he was immediately overjoyed. Then very seriously, carefully, and forcefully shouted the phrase that Li Yundong had taught him. Mud howl, big sand wall. Suddenly, the officials next to the municipal leader felt their vision go black. Chapter 61. Fortunately, he didn't greet his family. Mayor Luo's smile froze on his face, and the corners of his eyes kept twitching. The attendants and other school leaders around him wanted to laugh, but they didn't dare to. All of their faces were tense, and they looked like they were ready to die a righteous death. However, the corners of their mouths twitched from time to time, as if they were cramping. The students around them obviously didn't have as good control as these leaders. Some students couldn't help but burst into laughter on the spot, but they felt that it was inappropriate, so they immediately straightened their faces. After a while, they couldn't help but turn their heads and cover their mouths to secretly laugh. Li Yundong heard John's wolf-like cry and almost fainted. However, he was standing in the front row, and the city leaders were not far away, so he had to use all his strength to control himself and not let himself laugh. John didn't know that he had been pranked by Li Yundong. Seeing the strange reactions of the people around him, he couldn't help but ask blankly, "What's wrong? Did I learn it wrong?" Then, he tried very hard to learn the pronunciation. When Mayor Luo heard this, he thought, "Oh my God, you want to greet again?" Most leaders had quick reactions. He shook John's hand with a calm expression, then said to the school leader who was wiping his sweat with a natural expression, "People always say that the first thing you learn when you're in a foreign place is to curse. Now it seems that it's true." After that, he took the lead and laughed out loud. With this laugh, the people around him were relieved. They let out a long sigh of relief and laughed one after another. Li Yundong managed to endure until all the leaders left. When the party was about to end, he saw Chris walking over angrily with John. Li Yundong felt guilty, so he pulled Su-chan and said, "Run, run, the foreign devils are coming to make trouble." Su-chan had been so amused by Hardadef's thunderous greeting that she couldn't stand up straight. When Li Yundong pulled her away, she let out an "oh," wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes, and ran after him. At first, they were able to control themselves in the auditorium, and their pace was not fast. However, the closer they got to the entrance of the auditorium, the faster they walked. As soon as they got out of the auditorium, Li Yundong pulled Su-chan and ran. Chris shouted from behind, "Stop! Li Yundong, I have something to say." Li Yundong laughed, turned his head and said, "Stop right there. Let's talk tomorrow." Chris was so angry that her nose was crooked. She said to John, "John, let's go after them." John was confused. "Chase? Why?" Chris was exasperated. "You idiot. Didn't you know he was playing with you just now?" John asked in confusion, "How did he trick me?" Chris kicked John angrily. "That Chinese he taught you is a curse word. You just cursed the mayor of this city." John immediately covered his head with a look of horror. "Oh my God, I heard that this country is very centralized. Will I be sent to jail for scolding the mayor? Can't I go back?" Seeing him like this, Chris was both annoyed and amused. "You're such a simple-minded idiot. Hurry up and catch up with him. Make him apologize." John nodded his head vigorously at first, but then he said dejectedly, "What's the use of chasing after them? I can't beat him." Chris said angrily, "Do you only know how to use force? Are you still living in the Middle Ages?" With that, she chased after John. "It's up to you whether you want to come or not." John had no choice but to follow her. Li Yundong and Su-chan ran out of the school, laughing like crazy the whole way. Of course, they couldn't run very fast. Once they were out of the school gate, Su-chan smiled and asked, "Where do we go now?" There were very few people on the road. Only a man with his head down and his hands in his pants pockets was hurrying towards Li Yundong. Li Yundong pointed in the direction of the main road. "Over there." Before he could finish his words, he suddenly saw the person passing by him take out a bag of lime powder from his pocket and sprinkle it at Li Yundong. Li Yundong had never dreamed that someone would use such a dirty trick on him. Even though he had closed his eyes subconsciously, some of the lime powder still got into his eyes. With a roar, he covered his eyes with one hand and grabbed Su-chan with the other. "Su-chan, run!" Su-chan was right next to Li Yundong. The man's target was Li Yundong, so she didn't get hit at all. She was shocked and angry to see Li Yundong being attacked. How could she run? The man who had thrown the lime powder at Li Yundong shouted, "Do it!" As soon as he finished shouting, Xueqi rushed into his arms like lightning and slapped him on the chest. This palm strike didn't contain much strength, but after a loud bang, the man felt as if all the strength in his body had disappeared. Even his bones had gone limp, and he fell limply to the ground. All he could do was exhale, and he couldn't inhale any more. At this time, the thugs who had been lying in ambush on the side of the road all took out their blades and rushed over. Xueqi saw that things were not going well. She stretched out a hand, and a faint cyan light flowed on her fingers. She quickly wiped Li Yundong's eyes and shouted, "Okay, you can open your eyes now." After saying that, she rushed out. The lime in Li Yundong's eyes had been quietly removed by Xueqi with magic, but he still felt a stabbing pain in his eyes. He tried hard to open his eyes, only to find that his vision was blurred. Only Xueqi's figure was constantly jumping, and screams and wails were constantly coming from all around him. Chris and John, who had just arrived, were dumbfounded. John stared at Xueqi, who had knocked down one of them with a single move. He said in shock, "Jesus Christ, do all Chinese people really know Kung Fu? How is this girl so powerful?" He had a lot of actual combat experience, so he naturally knew that this sneak attack in front of him couldn't be a prearranged play. Moreover, although Xueqi's attack looked weak and powerless, her figure was erratic, like a ghost. As soon as her hand pressed on the person's body, there was immediately a scream like that of a pig being slaughtered. Chris also widened her eyes, as if she couldn't believe what was happening in front of her. These thugs had all been hired by Xueqi at a high price. Originally they had planned to cripple Li Yundong tonight, but they had never expected that. Although Li Yundong seemed to be a bit crazy, in fact, the real powerful one was the delicate little beauty next to him. When Xueqi took down the sixth person, the thugs were obviously afraid. Fear and hesitation appeared in their eyes, and they began to stop moving forward. One of the thugs who was close to Li Yundong gritted his teeth and slashed at Li Yundong, but in his heart, he was wishful thinking. At least hit him once, then immediately run away so that I can report back. But Li Yundong happened to regain his vision at this time. He saw the knife coming at him. He grabbed it with his hand and clamped the blade between his fingers. The thug was shocked and tried to grab the knife, but it didn't budge at all. It was as if it wasn't a hand, but a big iron clamp. Li Yundong was furious. He squeezed his fingers hard and broke the knife, then picked the thug up with one hand and said in a fierce voice, "Tell me who sent you." The thug was frightened by Li Yundong. He had never seen someone like Li Yundong who could catch a knife empty-handed. The thug's legs trembled. It was Xueqi. Li Yundong laughed angrily. "Well, it seems that he still doesn't want to give up. Well, go back and tell him that I'll take this on. Let's see if he dies first, or I die first. If he has the guts, don't show up at Tiannan University again, or I'll throw him off the teaching building. I mean what I say." With that, Li Yundong slapped the thug's face. The thug spat out a couple of teeth. The thug covered his mouth and staggered away, not daring to look back. By this time, Xueqi had already knocked the thugs around her to the ground. She kept in mind the rule that cultivators could not use magic to kill mortals. From the beginning to the end, her goal was only to hurt people. She used her gentle hand strength to injure the internal organs of these thugs. After they went back, they would be left with all kinds of serious internal injuries in less than a year, and they would never be able to do evil again. Li Yundong walked up to Xueqi. He didn't look at the wailing thugs around her. Instead, he looked at Xueqi with concern. "Are you okay?" Xueqi smiled and pointed at the thugs on the ground. "What do you think?" she asked. "I told you I'm good, didn't I?" Li Yundong laughed, then quickly put on a straight face and pretended to be angry. "You're not allowed to hit people again." Xueqi was expecting Li Yundong to praise her, but when she heard him say that, she pouted. "You're so annoying. Why don't you give me some compliments?" Li Yundong pinched Xueqi's nose. "I'll be worried if someone hurts you, or if you hurt someone else," he said. "Do you understand? Let me do this kind of thing." Xueqi's heart warmed. Her anger turned to joy. She giggled and used her hand to wipe away the remaining lime powder on Li Yundong's face. "You've turned into a big tabby cat." Li Yundong suddenly remembered that there was lime powder on his face. He used the corner of his shirt to wipe his face clean. "That son of a bitch is so evil," he cursed. "Thank God you're here. Otherwise, I'd have been turned into minced meat today." Suddenly, Li Yundong seemed to remember something. He turned to Chris and John, who were in a daze not far away. "You two saw it," he said loudly. "They were the ones who started it. Su-chan and I were just defending ourselves." John and Chris were already dumbfounded by what they saw. How could they react in time? They just nodded subconsciously. After the two of them watched Li Yundong and Su-chan leave in a taxi, Hardedef's eyes lit up and he yelled, "I must take him as my master. I must take him as my master. He's amazing." Chris rolled her eyes at him. Then, she suddenly thought of something. "That bastard only knows how to lie," she said angrily. "Didn't he say that his kung fu was only passed down to males and not females? Why is that girl so good?" In Chris's opinion, Li Yundong must have taught Su-chan's kung fu. Little did she know that Su-chan was the one who had guided Li Yundong's kung fu. == Chapter 62. Even though it was late at night, the school leaders and teachers still held a board meeting to discuss the results and mistakes of the evening's gala. "I told you, this student is a black sheep. We must kick him out of the school." Director Chen slammed his fist on the table. His head was so agitated that it fell to the ground, blocking one of his eyes. It was a comical sight. Think about it. Because of him, someone almost died at the school gala. And he even taught foreigners how to swear. He embarrassed the city leaders. There was no such thing as an impenetrable wall. It was easy for the teachers to find out what had happened. Director Chen seized the opportunity and made up his mind to get rid of this thorn in his side. Although the other teachers had never had any direct conflicts with Li Yundong, they had more or less heard of Li Yundong's recent exploits. Teachers disliked students like him from the bottom of their hearts, especially Mr. Liu, who had a history with Li Yundong. Mr. Liu, who had clashed with Li Yundong at the school gate, took this opportunity to add insult to injury. "I agree with Mr. Chen," he said. "A student like him will cause trouble at our school sooner or later. Look at him these days. Which day doesn't he cause trouble?" The president of Tiannan University had gone abroad for an investigation, so the vice president was naturally in charge of all the affairs of the university. President Ku adjusted his reading glasses, coughed, and said, "But Li Yundong still has a good reputation among the exchange students at the University of Pennsylvania. Principal Ku, Li Yundong almost killed John with one punch and taught him how to swear. What kind of impression does he leave on people? People will think that our school is full of students like him." Principal Ku fell silent. After a while he said, "But no matter what, he contributed a lot to this gala. You could say that he was the one in the limelight. If we fire him for no reason, it won't be justifiable." Principal Ku still had a good impression of Li Yundong. If it weren't for Li Yundong, the gala would have been a tragedy. Even if he hadn't been implicated, Tiannan University would have inevitably been affected. Seeing that Principal Ku had spoken up for Li Yundong, Director Chen knew that it would be difficult for him to expel Li Yundong. Although he was reluctant to do so, there was nothing else he could say. Instead, he let out a muffled snort and fell silent. Headmaster Ku glanced at him and concluded the discussion. "Well, that's it. Let's move on to the next question." After the school committee meeting, Director Chen, who was walking at the back, was stopped by Professor Liu. "Director Chen, it's actually not difficult to get rid of those black sheep." "Oh?" Chief Chen asked in surprise. Teacher Liu smiled and said, "It's going to be the final exam soon. I've already asked around. This student has already skipped more than 40 classes this semester, and he can't take the exam for quite a few subjects. He can only take the exam for the remaining 2 compulsory subjects. As long as he fails these 2 subjects and doesn't get credit, then," Director Chen smiled and said, "so we can persuade him to quit." The 2 teachers looked at each other and smiled, feeling like they regretted not having met earlier. Compared to some unscrupulous teachers who were full of evil tricks, university students were much more innocent. That night, the campus forum was packed to the brim with students. The number of posts on the forum nearly crashed the server. After taking a shower in her dorm, Chung Cheng sat in front of her computer and clicked on the Jianghu section of the campus forum. The first page of the forum was filled with selfies taken by students from that night's gala. The first highlighted post was Li Yundong's post. Cheng Cheng shouted excitedly at Feng Na, who was in the bathroom. Nana! Seeing how excited Cheng Cheng was, the other roommates in the dormitory all came over to watch. After a while, Feng Na also came out with a towel wrapped around her, revealing her fair and long legs. While drying her wet hair, she asked, "What are you looking at? You look like you're on steroids." Feng Na laughed when she saw the video. It was a video of Li Yundong's performance at the gala. What's so good about that? Didn't you guys see it already? Plus, it was taken with a cell phone. It's so blurry. Cheng Cheng turned around and laughed. That's not the same. This is from a third person's perspective. Li Yundong looks so cool. Feng Na laughed. That's right. Why else would I make a junior my idol? The roommates in the dorm laughed. Well, you've been plotting this for a long time, Nana. Hurry up and tell us how far you've gone. Feng Na's heart skipped a beat, and her expression darkened. Cheng Cheng quickly changed the topic. Hey, look at the comments. They're super funny. Only then did the girls change their target. They gathered in front of the computer and read the comments one by one, then read them out in low voices. Holy crap, Tiannan University has so many talents. When did such a fierce person appear? Crouching Tiger Hidden Dragon? This is Crouching Tiger Hidden Dragon. So awesome, so awesome. I'm proud to be a student of Tiannan University. I'm proud. A true man doesn't show his face. If he does, he's not a true man. Upstairs, are you saying that Li Yundong is showing his true colors today? He's no longer a true man? A true man doesn't show his face. If he does, he's not a true man. The sixth floor is powerful. Watch and worship. The sixth floor is bright. Well, according to the sixth floor's theory, Li Yundong is still a true man because he didn't show his face. 500 years ago, there was Zhang Sanfeng of Wudong Mountain. 500 years later, there is Li Yundong of Tiannan City, Zhenren Li. Dear benefactors, convert to Buddhism as soon as possible. The sea of bitterness is boundless. Repent and you will be saved. Those who are interested, please contact the disciple of Zhenren Li of Dormitory 406. Phone number 134 *** 54657. Holy crap, you idiot. Zhenren is a Taoist. Why are you, a Buddhist, here? Get out of here, bald donkey. How can a Taoist like you confuse the public? Tanyu, I'm not talented, but I'm the 49th generation successor of Zhenren Li. If you are interested in joining the Taoist sect, please contact Dormitory 108. Since I lost my mobile phone the day before yesterday, I haven't gotten a new SIM card, so I only left a secret code. The secret code is, Long Live Allah. Holy crap, the 49th generation successor of Zhenren Li? Zhenren Li is less than 20 years old this year, and he's already the 49th generation? Are you cell division or gene cloning? Long live Allah, that son of mine. The girls read the comments one by one and almost broke their bellies laughing. Cheng Cheng laughed so hard that tears flowed from her eyes. She collapsed on Feng Na and said, panting, I can't take it anymore. My intestines are going to break from laughing. Feng Na also laughed with tears in her eyes. These people are so funny. The girls laughed as they returned to their beds, logged into their computers one after another, and followed Hu Tian and Hu Di in the school's Jianghu section. In just an hour, Li Yundong's video post had more than 1,000 comments. When it broke 1,000 comments, the students of Tiannan University couldn't help but exclaim, this is definitely the most powerful post in the 10 years since the founding of Tiannan University. It can be called the first divine post in Tiannan University. But the most powerful thing about this post was not the jaw-dropping popularity of the post, but the strong attack power of the post's fans. After Li Yundong's video post came out, many people had been sourly accusing the video of being fake and saying with certainty, how can there be kung fu that can hit people from a distance in the world? Did Li Yundong practice the 18 dragons subduing palms or the Buddha's palm? I think this is another conspiracy of a so-called Qigong master. But soon, these comments were attacked by the students who had watched the party that night. These bored students used all kinds of sharp, shrewd, and unkind words to attack the conspiracy theorists. At first, the conspiracy theorists could still argue and refute with strong arguments, but as the battle went on, More and more students returned to their dormitories and logged into the school's website. More and more people joined Li Yundong's fan club and attacked anyone who said bad things about Li Yundong. Gradually, the conspiracy theorists began to lose ground, especially when 18 generations of their ancestors and 18 generations of their descendants were killed. One by one, they began to lose the #1 divine post in Tiannan University. When Li Yundong reached the 2000th post, the last one to hold his ground, Li He, who went by the name True Love Forever, finally lost. For a moment, the Li Mi, who had no ancestral graves to dig up, looked around blankly, and had nowhere to vent their anger. Just then, someone who had nothing better to do went to the gossip section and created a post to vote for the most popular young man on campus. The post listed all the school hunks at Tiannan University. As a result, the locusts in the Jianghu section immediately turned to the gossip section, and in an instant, the post was covered by more than 1,000 comments. Li Yundong was named the most popular young man at Tiannan University with 95% of the votes. The previous school hunk, Zhao Yujian, wasn't even nominated. But that wasn't the end of it. Cheng Cheng was still not satisfied, so she secretly created another post. It was titled, "Who do you think is your perfect male partner?" As a result, Li Yundong's strong female fan club once again pushed Li Yundong to the top of the list. The voting rate was as high as 97%. In for a penny, in for a pound. Cheng Cheng opened another post. "Who do you think is your perfect female partner?" As Feng Na's best friend, Cheng Cheng naturally voted for her sister. Feng Na's roommates also voted for Feng Na. But this time, the results were out of the girls' expectations. Li Yundong's mysterious girlfriend won an astonishing number of votes, beating out Tiannan University's campus belle, Zhou Qin, and department belle, Feng Na. This is a conspiracy. This is definitely a conspiracy. Cheng Cheng was furious. This is the boys' revenge on us girls for supporting Li Yundong just now. Chapter 63. As the saying goes, there is no smoke without fire. The boys and girls immediately launched a fierce battle because of this matter. The girls kept listing Li Yundong's good points, such as his ability to fight and fight, his humor, his handsome appearance, his gentleness and consideration towards his girlfriend, and so on. They used this to criticize the current boys for their lack of responsibility, lack of ambition, lack of interest, barbaric and rude, trap, and so on. The boys naturally didn't want to be outdone by the girls. They listed Su Chan's good points one by one. She's beautiful but not arrogant. She's cute and easygoing. She's not like the girls nowadays who talk about money and worship money. She's tacky and disgusting. Most importantly, she's prettier than a movie star, but she doesn't have a single branded item on her. She's simple and plain. In this day and age, the battle between men and women could never be decided. Women scolded there is no good man in the world on all kinds of occasions, and men also repeatedly scolded there is no woman who is not vain and doesn't worship money. Was there a rich man who seduced women and fought to be their mistress first, or was there a beautiful woman who tried to promote from a mistress to a wife first? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? This was a question worth considering. When the topic gradually touched on sensitive social issues, everyone inevitably felt the weight of the topic. Some people began to slowly withdraw from the debate and meditate. The speed of the gossip forums posts slowed down significantly. But suddenly, an ID called "I'm an otaku, I'm not afraid of anyone" suddenly left a comment on the thread, "Who's the perfect female partner around you?" F***CK. Who posted this? How dare you fantasize about my Su Chan? Do you want to die? This sentence immediately caused a huge uproar. Almost at the same time, dozens of divers and hundreds of online students left comments to curse the poster, 99% of whom were men. But after a while, the ID said something that caused the forum to explode. F***CK. What's wrong with you guys? I'm Li Yundong, and Su Chan is my girlfriend. I'll beat up anyone who tries to hit on her. Li Yundong? It's Li Yundong. Li Yundong is online. This news instantly spread throughout the entire forum and all the campus QQ groups. The students who had been a little dispirited were suddenly excited as if they had been injected with chicken blood. Some of the students who had already fallen asleep were also awakened and logged back into the school forum. Many people questioned the true identity of this ID and said, How can you prove that you are Li Yundong? I said I was Li Yunxi. Li Yundong was surfing the internet on his new home laptop. After he came home, he took a shower and practiced his qi for a while. He was bored out of his mind and wanted to go to bed, but too many things had happened that night. He wanted to talk to Su Chan about how she knew Kung Fu, but he didn't know how to bring it up. Caught between a rock and a hard place, Li Yundong turned on his computer and logged into the school forum. Before Su Chan had appeared in his life, he had been a frequent visitor to this forum. However, at that time he had been a typical otaku. He wasn't famous in school, so naturally, no one paid attention to his words and actions. However, things were different now. After he logged onto the forum and casually said something, it immediately caused a huge uproar. How can I prove that I am Li Yundong? Li Yundong couldn't help laughing when he saw such a reply. How can I prove that I am Li Yundong? Li Yundong replied. Immediately, someone on the forum who had nothing better to do said, "Post a pages. Report your 3 measurements." Downstairs, a serious person said, "It's simple. Post your phone number, and we'll make a call to verify it. Then we'll know." Li Yundong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. How do you know it's me? Can all of you recognize my voice? Li Yundong didn't try to shirk the responsibility, so half of the people on the internet began to believe that this ID was Li Yundong. They couldn't help but excitedly come up with ideas. I'm Li Yundong's classmate. I can recognize his voice, an ID called Taiyang Sangzi said. Immediately, someone praised and applauded the ID called Taiyang Sangzi to call Li Yundong. Li Yundong was so annoyed by these people on the internet that he posted his phone number on the internet. Almost as soon as he posted it, a call came in. Li Yundong picked up and said, "Hello? Who is this?" "Lily, it's really Li Yundong." A girl on the other side of the phone yelled excitedly. "It's really him?" A voice that Li Yundong was very familiar with came from the other side of the phone. "No way. Let me hear it." Cell phones nowadays had the ability to store phone numbers, so even though Sunli had contacted Li Yundong a few times before, she couldn't remember his number at all. She had also joined in the fun on the forum before, but now that she realized that it really was Li Yundong's number, she grabbed the phone in surprise. "Hello? Hello? Li Yundong, is that you?" "My dear class rep," Li Yundong said with a wry smile. "Why do I have to call you everywhere?" Sunli burst into laughter. "Congratulations, Li Yundong. You're famous now. You're the most popular student in our school." Li Yundong laughed. "What the hell? Who cares about that? Hurry up. Do you know the moderator of the school board? Delete that post about my girlfriend. I don't like it." "Yo," Sunli said with a drawl. "You just got famous, and you're already pointing fingers? You really do change when you're famous, huh?" Li Yundong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "My dear class rep, just do me a favor." "I can't help you," Sunli said with a smile. "Good luck." With that, she hung up the phone. While Sunli was on the phone with Li Yundong, her roommates had already posted the news online that it was indeed Li Yundong's number. "It really is Li Yundong. I just talked to him." Haha. Students who want to hear Li Yundong's magnetic voice, hurry up and call him. His phone is going to explode soon. As expected, as soon as Li Yundong hung up the phone with Sunli, an unfamiliar number came through. The moment Li Yundong picked up the call, he heard a pleasant northeastern accent. It was a man. "Is this Li Yundong?" he said. "Oh my, it really is you, bro. Oh my, you're so awesome tonight. Let me tell you, I admire you so much right now." "What? You don't believe me?" Those were my heartfelt words. They were absolutely true. "Hey, are you listening? Hey. Li Yundong hung up the phone with a strange look on his face. Where did this psycho come from? He muttered. But as soon as he hung up, another number came in. This time, it was a woman, but her voice was as rough as Zhang Fei's. "Oh my god, are you really Li Yundong?" Li Yundong asked in a Shaanxi accent. "Oh my god, are you really Li Yundong?" Li Yundong was so startled by the voice that he immediately dialed the number. But as soon as he dialed the number, another call came through. Li Yundong was furious. He turned off the phone and tossed it to the side. By then, the school forum had exploded with activity. Those who managed to get through to Li Yundong were showing off in the forum, while those who couldn't were sighing in despair. Li Yundong couldn't help but laugh as he read the posts on the forum. These people really have nothing better to do. Su Chan came out of the bathroom after taking a shower. She was wearing Li Yundong's loose casual shirt, which was completely bare inside. Her breasts were slightly protruding, and she was wearing a pair of Li Yundong's loose pajama pants. Her delicate toes peeked out of her sandals in a mischievous manner. "What's wrong with you? Who were you talking to?" Su Chan noticed that Li Yundong was sulking in front of her desk, so she sat down next to him with a smile on her face. Li Yundong looked at the beautiful girl in front of him and pretended to be angry. "Someone is plotting against you, and I'm jealous." Su Chan giggled and suddenly kissed Li Yundong on the cheek. Then she took his arm and said, "Sir, this girl belongs to you alone. No one can take her away from you." "Really?" Li Yundong pretended to look skeptical. "Really?" Su Chan's eyes turned into crescent moons. Her smile was so sweet that it seemed to melt Li Yundong. "Yes, sir," she said in a sweet voice. Li Yundong was very satisfied. He smiled and hugged the girl. "Well, let me verify your identity. Come here, Uncle will check your body." Su Chan giggled, stood up, and ran. As she ran, she laughed and ran into her bedroom. Then she poked her head out and made a face at Li Yundong. No, you can't do anything bad to me." Li Yundong's previous unhappiness disappeared. He pretended to be a horny grandmother wolf and pounced on Su Chan. "I'm going to eat you up today." Su Chan screamed and slammed the door shut. Then she let out a peal of laughter. While the young couple was laughing and playing, the school's forum was finally flooded by excited students. The server was completely paralyzed, and the students had no choice but to turn off their computers and return to reality from the virtual world. Xueqi rested her chin on one hand and patiently watched the video of Li Yundong that she had downloaded. Her usually expressionless face now had a gentle smile on it. "He will come to my party tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it." However, when Xueqi's gaze fell on the forum page that had already been closed, her two beautiful eyebrows immediately frowned slightly again. Who is the mysterious girl next to Li Yundong? Xueqi sighed faintly. Before, she could get anything she wanted. This time, she had her eyes on a boy, but this boy belonged to someone else. Could she still have him? Xueqi's thoughts drifted far, far away. Chapter 64. As soon as he walked into the classroom, the students who had been chatting suddenly quieted down, and then looked at Li Yundong. "Haha! The superstar is here!" Class President Sun Li exclaimed, pointing a finger at Li Yundong. The students in the class were all fired up. They rushed to Li Yundong like a tidal wave and handed him their notebooks and papers one by one. "Superstar, hurry up and give us your autograph." "Zhenren Li, take me as your disciple. Hee hee. Of course, before that, please sign your name." Li Yundong was shocked. He hadn't expected that after one night, these students would still be so excited. He waved his hand and said pretentiously, "Alas, I've always stressed that we should keep a low profile, but you always give me flowers and smiles. It's really embarrassing." The students roared with laughter. Even Sun Li was guffawing. She pointed at Li Yundong and yelled, "He's acting like a big shot. What are we going to do about it?" The students in the class laughed and said, "Take off your clothes, take off your pants, and throw your shoes." Seeing that the situation was not good, Li Yundong hurriedly tried to escape through the door. When he turned his head, he saw Chris, John, and the other students attending the International University Exchange meeting walking over. Compared to the enthusiastic students in the class, Li Yundong was more afraid of facing these two foreigners. No matter what, he had played a prank on the foreigners and made a fool of himself. This was wrong after all. Brothers and sisters. Li Yundong quickly turned around and begged for mercy. He cupped his hands and said, "Everyone listen to me. I will definitely get the autographs for everyone. Now that the foreigners are here, we can't let them see us make a fool of ourselves, right? We were born from the same root. Why are we in such a hurry to destroy each other?" The students roared in agreement. Some of the bolder girls stole glances at Li Yundong as they giggled. "What's the rush?" Li Yundong's eyes widened. When Li Yundong sat down in his seat, He let out a long sigh of relief. Why did they ask for your autograph? Su Chan asked in confusion. Li Yundong thought for a moment and said, well, some people think that you are a star, or that you have the potential to be a star, so they come to ask for your autograph. On the one hand, they can show off to others, and on the other hand, they can sell it when you become famous in the future. Su Chan's eyes lit up. Autographs can be sold for money? If I become a big star in the future, of course I can sell it, Li Yundong said. Su Chan giggled. Then I want an autograph too. Li Yundong couldn't help but laugh at her cute appearance. What do you want an autograph for? Su Chan smiled and said, I want a lot of your autographs. I'll be rich in the future. Li Yundong burst into laughter and ruffled the girl's hair affectionately. Idiot, he said. Too many signatures makes them worthless. Besides, my signature is worthless. Su Chan pouted, her interest waning. Is that so? Li Yundong was tickled by the girl's cuteness. He couldn't help but lean over and whisper, if you want, I'll only give you an autograph. Then the autograph on your hand will be worth some money. Su Chan's gloomy expression immediately brightened up. Her face lit up with joy, and she quickly asked, really? Li Yundong tried hard to hold back his laughter and said, it's more real than a pearl. But do you have a piece of paper or book for me to sign? Su Chan had only accompanied Li Yundong to school, and she had been empty-handed the whole time. She suddenly looked embarrassed. I don't have any. What should I do? Li Yundong whispered in Su Chan's ear, I can sign it on your body. His breath tickled Su Chan's ear, and her whole body went limp. She giggled. You're so annoying. You're not shy at all. Li Yundong and Su Chan were getting closer and closer. Some of the things he had been afraid to say in the past were getting more and more fluent and bold. He was about to tease the girl again when he saw someone sitting down next to him. Li Yundong turned his head and saw that Chris was looking at him angrily. Then, a few people also sat down in the back row. John stretched his head over and said to Li Yundong with a smile, take a loss. Li Yundong shook his head and sighed. You two are so patient. 2 more days and you'll go back to America. Why do you have to do this? It's good to leave a good impression on yourself. It's not like Tiannan City University doesn't have any scenic spots. You can go there and see more, okay? John had been listening to Li Yundong speak Chinese in a daze. He couldn't understand a single word at all. When he finally heard the last word, he understood it. Okay. How could he not understand? He didn't care what Li Yundong said. He quickly nodded his head like a rattle to show his existence. Okay. Li Yundong was amused by John and burst out laughing. Chris, who was beside him, suddenly turned her head and shouted at John, Shut up! Shut up! John immediately fell silent. He looked at Chris with a wronged expression. Chris, what did I do to offend you again? This guy is trying to drive us away, Chris said. He doesn't like us. Hardadef's face was suddenly full of sadness and pain. He shouted at Li Yundong, You've hurt my heart by doing this. I sincerely and seriously want to worship you as my master. It was a pity that Li Yundong couldn't understand a single word of his sincere confession. After Chris translated it for him, Li Yundong thought for a moment and said, Since you feel that you are very sincere, I will also tell you very sincerely that unless you learn Chinese and settle down in China, then I can teach you. Otherwise, it is absolutely impossible. Chris had come to Li Yundong today because, as international exchange students, they wanted to listen to the courses at Tiannan University. On the other hand, she had returned to her residence last night. After thinking about it, she still felt unreconciled. She had never been treated like this since she was a child. Apprenticeship was secondary. The most important thing was to fight for justice. Americans were free and undisciplined by nature, but the national conditions of the world's most powerful country had cultivated an arrogant mentality of, I am the best in the world in their bones. When Chris heard Li Yundong's words, she was so angry that she forgot to translate. She directly shouted at Li Yundong, You have no sincerity at all. You are destroying the friendship between the two countries. Fine, going to the main line, this was really a big accusation. Li Yundong was eloquent. He sneered and said, I said, it's your business whether you want to be my disciple or not. It's my business whether I want to accept an apprentice or not. Although your country is powerful, It's not powerful enough to force me to accept you as my apprentice, right? Don't talk about the friendship between the two countries. It sounds disgusting. Your country has done a lot of things that go back on their words. The exchange students at the University of Pennsylvania also understood Chinese. When they heard this, they immediately advised, Chris, forget it. Don't force yourself. Maybe they do have such a rule. Yes, Chris, I heard that Chinese people are really very particular about accepting apprentices. These people advised her one after another. Chris was known as a China expert in university, and she also studied China's Chinese language and literature and ancient history of China. She was known as the Venus of Wisdom and Beauty in the International Academy. How could she not understand these words? Chris took a deep breath, and her anger gradually subsided. However, there was a faint stubborn look in her eyes. She lowered her voice and said, I won't give up. Sooner or later, you will accept me as your apprentice. Of course, there is also him. Chris pointed to John, who was sitting in the back row. Li Yundong felt that this foreign girl really had the personality of a Hunan person. She was so domineering. She knew it was impossible, but she still did it. Li Yundong smiled and said, Well, let's wait and see. I'm very curious. What will you do to make me accept you as my master? John wanted to be apprenticed to Li Yundong because he really loved all kinds of fighting skills in this world. Especially when Li Yundong had knocked someone down with a punch, it had made him even more like a drug addict. How could he give up the opportunity to learn? Before, Chris wanted to be apprenticed to Li Yundong as a master, but it was nothing more than a joke. Now that the joke had become real, this foreign girl's stubborn temper had come back. Li Yundong ignored these foreigners. He glanced out of the corner of his eye and saw Zhou Qin and Ding Nan enter the classroom. Ding Nan saw Li Yundong at first glance, then gently nudged Zhou Qin with her elbow and gestured in Li Yundong's direction with her eyes. Zhou Qin also saw Li Yundong, and a touch of softness flashed in her eyes. She nodded slightly to Li Yundong as a greeting. This action couldn't be more ordinary for others, but for Zhou Qin, it was earth-shattering. In the classroom, there were people who knew this cold-faced girl. Suddenly, they were so surprised that a fist could be stuffed into their mouths. Zhou Qin actually took the initiative to greet someone. She also likes Li Yundong? I heard that she's having a birthday party today. Did she invite you? No, but Sun Li, the class monitor, was invited. And I heard that most of the guests are handsome guys and pretty girls. Tisk. TSK. I wonder what her birthday party will be like. As the students whispered to each other, the teacher arrived at the classroom, and the classroom slowly quieted down. Li Yundong dragged Su Chan out of the classroom as if he were on a break. They still had classes in the afternoon, and there was no way they could go back to their own home for lunch. So, they headed straight for the cafeteria. As soon as they entered the cafeteria, everyone in the cafeteria turned to look at them. One of them was Tiannan University's most popular girl, and the other was Tiannan University's universally acknowledged perfect girlfriend. How could a pair like this not attract attention? Su Chan was a carefree person, but she still felt uncomfortable being stared at by so many people in the cafeteria. She reached out and tugged on Li Yundong's sleeve. Why are they looking at me? You're too pretty, Li Yundong said. That's why they're looking at you. Su Chan's face broke into a smile. Really? It's fake. Li Yundong laughed. Su Chan's face fell. You're so annoying. The two of them bought some food in the cafeteria and sat down. No one at the table approached them again. It wasn't that they didn't want to, but that Li Yundong and Su Chan's aura was too strong. Li Yundong looked around and saw that no one was within 5 meters of him. Suddenly, he felt a sense of loneliness, as if a lifetime had passed. He let out a long sigh. So this is what it feels like to be a star, he thought. Chapter 65. Oh, it's you. Li Yundong chuckled. Feng Na was wearing a white short-sleeved blouse and a pair of jeans that accentuated her slender and straight legs. Her figure was slim, youthful, and full of vitality. Coupled with her sweet smile, Li Yundong was a little dazed when he saw her. What? Feng Na giggled, but didn't sit down right away. Instead, she teased Li Yundong. Are you trying to act like a big shot now? Cheng Cheng, who was always by Li Yundong's side, also walked over with her plate. You're trying to act like a big shot now? No way, you should at least give us your autograph before you act like a big shot. Li Yundong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You guys are making fun of me too? No way, right? Come on, sit down. If you don't, I'll be a national sinner. Feng Na giggled and sat down across from Li Yundong with Chung Chung. By the way, was that really you on the forum yesterday? Feng Na asked with interest. Li Yundong was so angry at the thought that he still didn't dare to turn on his phone. It was me, Li Yundong said grumpily. Feng Na and Chung Chung burst into laughter. Feng Na laughed so hard that she was rocking back and forth. That phone number is also yours? Li Yundong lowered his head and said in a muffled voice as he ate, Of course. Feng Na laughed. You're crazy. I can't believe you posted your phone number on the internet. Stop fooling around and get a new SIM card. Don't you know how many pretty girls want to give you love letters and ask you to get a room? Li Yundong almost spat out the food from his nose. No way. Are all girls so bold and unrestrained nowadays? Feng Na smiled without saying a word. Cheng Ching said, Hey, Li Yundong, turn on your phone and see how many missed calls and messages you have. Li Yundong couldn't help but be curious. He took out his phone from his pocket and pressed the power button. After a while, his phone started ringing like crazy. Li Yundong desperately pressed the hang-up button, but it didn't work. There was a message every second, and it didn't stop ringing for 5 minutes. Feng Na and Cheng Chung couldn't help but sigh. What do you mean by popular? That's what it means to be popular. I'm so jealous. Li Yundong was so angry that he directly removed the battery of the phone, then threw the phone on the table and said angrily, Are you envious? I can't even use my phone. I wasted a card for no reason. Feng Na winked at Li Yundong and said, How does it feel to be surrounded by stars? How does it feel to be surrounded and chased after? Li Yundong rolled his eyes at her. You want to know? That's simple. Why don't you become famous too? Feng Na sighed faintly and said with a self-pitying look on her face, I want to do that too, but I don't have the ability to do it. She's not like Su Chan, who is the center of attention wherever she goes. Su Chan's ears perked up when she heard them talking about her. Her eyes curved into crescent moons as she smiled. Are you complimenting me? I like to hear people praise me more, praise me more. Feng Na and Cheng Cheng had never interacted with Su Chan before, and they were afraid that this ridiculously beautiful girl would be difficult to approach, so they deliberately praised Su Chan. Who would have thought that Su Chan would be so good-natured and unpretentious? Her words made Feng Na and Cheng Cheng burst into laughter. Li Yundong smiled and poked Su Chan's nose with his chopsticks. You're so vain. Su Chan made a face at Li Yundong. Feng Na was jealous of Su Chan and Li Yundong's intimacy, but Su Chan's cuteness was alluring to both men and women. It only took one sentence for Su Chan to leave a good impression on Feng Na. Feng Na couldn't help but speak up for Su Chan. You're wrong, Feng Na said. Who in this world isn't vain? Li Yundong tapped his nose with a pair of chopsticks. I'm just a nobody, he said. Feng Na and Li Yundong were very familiar with each other, so she knew that he was a playful person who didn't care about trifles. Oh, come on, Feng Na said bluntly. No one in this world isn't vain at all. So many people like you. Aren't you happy at all? Aren't you happy at all? Don't you feel satisfied when a girl says, Li Yundong, I love you? Li Yundong thought about it seriously for a moment. I admit that I feel happy when a girl confesses to me, he said. But if a girl confesses to me, I might feel happy too. But it won't be as exaggerated as you think. After saying that, Li Yundong pinched Su Chan's round, jade-like earlobe. Because I already have a girl, he said with a smile. I only want to drink 1 ladle of beautiful water. Su Chan giggled and dodged Li Yundong's hand. Then, she pretended to hit Li Yundong with her chopsticks. It's so ticklish. Although Su Chan said it was annoying, she was beaming with joy. There was a deep sense of joy in her voice. Chung Cheng glanced at Feng Na and couldn't help but sigh. Feng Na was flustered by Chung Cheng's stare. She forced a smile and said, Li Yundong, you're so stingy. You like your girlfriend so much, but you let her wear men's clothes. I've seen her wear a set of clothes for several days. Li Yundong was stunned for a moment. Although he was a clean person, he didn't pay much attention to his clothes and appearance. He really hadn't thought about buying a few sets of clothes for Su-chan. Of course, the most important thing was that Su-chan hadn't asked for them. Li Yundong turned his head and looked at the little girl beside him. He saw that the girl was wearing a pair of spaghetti pants that he had worn before, which looked a little loose and fat. The cultural casual shirt she was wearing made her look even more petite. Su-chan tried hard to wipe out the braised pork on her plate with a spoon. She blinked at Li Yundong, who was looking at her. "What are you looking at?" she asked. Li Yundong smiled. "How about I take you to buy some new clothes today?" Su-chan said disapprovingly. "Don't we have clothes at home? Why should we buy them?" Li Yundong chuckled. "Those are my clothes. You can't wear my clothes all the time, can you?" Su-chan immediately put down the spoon in her hand and looked at Li Yundong. "You don't like me," she said pitifully. "You don't want to give me clothes to wear?" Li Yundong laughed and pinched Su-chan's cheek. "Idiot. How can a girl wear boys' clothes all the time?" Su-chan slapped Li Yundong's hand away and made a face at him. "Why not? By the way, the food here isn't good. It's not as good as your cooking." Li Yundong laughed. "Of course. This is a big pot. How can it be better than a small pot with a small stove?" Feng Na looked at Li Yundong in surprise. "You know how to cook?" Li Yundong said proudly. "Of course I'm a chef." Li Yundong said to Su-chan, "Isn't that right, girl?" Su-chan wrinkled her nose at Li Yundong, causing her nose to wrinkle. "It's not delicious at all." Feng Na and Cheng Cheng burst out laughing. "See? You're being ridiculed." Li Yundong didn't expect Su-chan to ridicule him in public. "You stupid girl," he said angrily. "You always take the food away from me. I don't even have the food to eat. Why do you take it away if it's not good?" Su-chan puffed up her cheeks. "What if I say it's good and they want to eat it too? It's already not enough for 2 people, but it's even less for 4 people." Li Yundong laughed so hard that he leaned back. He really loved this little girl in his heart. He pinched the little girl's pink cheeks hard and said, "Idiot, can't I do a little more?" When Su-chan saw that Li Yundong was about to pinch her face, she was so scared that she quickly covered her cheeks with her hands and jumped back. With this jump, an "Aya" sound came from behind him, followed by the sound of a metal plate falling to the ground. Li Yundong turned around and saw Xueqi holding a plate of food. There was soup splashed all over her clothes. The other girl beside her had overturned her plate, and her dress was covered in soup. "Are you blind? Are you blind?" The girl who had overturned her plate looked down and saw that her dress was stained. She screamed. Su-chan was shocked. "I'm sorry, I didn't see." She apologized. When Feng Na saw that Su-chan was also covered in soup, she took out a napkin from her purse and handed it to Li Yundong. Li Yundong took the napkin and wiped the soup off Su-chan's arms and clothes. "I'm sorry," he said apologetically. "We didn't mean to." Xueqi's eyes lit up when she saw Li Yundong. "Li Yundong." The girl's anger dissipated as soon as she heard Li Yundong's name. She wiped the soup off her clothes with her handkerchief and looked at Li Yundong carefully. "You're Li Yundong?" Li Yundong nodded and said, "I'm sorry for dirtying your clothes." The girl ignored Li Yundong. She moved closer to Xueqi and looked Su-chan up and down. "So this is your love rival," she whispered. "Let me teach her a lesson for you." Xueqi wanted to dissuade the girl, but when she saw Su-chan looking helpless and pitiful, her heart filled with jealousy. This girl is so disgusting and pretentious. It's her fault, but she's acting like she's being wronged. Li Yundong can't be fooled by a girl who's good at acting. People with complicated minds couldn't help but think of the world as complicated. Xueqi's narrow-mindedness couldn't be understood by others. "Do you know how much my clothes cost?" The girl who had been accompanying her yelled at Su-chan. Li Yundong could tell that the girl was a student of the art faculty with a pretty face and a good figure. However, the shrewish tone in her voice made Li Yundong think that she was a chef who cooked fried rice, and a chef who cooked Sichuan cuisine. Li Yundong couldn't bear to see Su-chan get bullied, so he pulled the girl behind him and said with a frown, "We've already apologized for what happened today." Su-chan poked her head out from behind Li Yundong and said meekly, "I really didn't mean it. If you want, I can help you clean it up." The girl laughed and said with a look of disdain, "Clean? Do you even know what brand I'm wearing?" "Christian Dior." "It's Dior. Do you think it's because of the crappy stuff you're wearing?" Su-chan had no idea what Dior was. She said blankly, Dior? How much is it? I'll pay for it. The girl sneered. Pay for it? Can you afford it? All the clothes you're wearing can't even compare to a single thread on my body. Su-chan's face turned red. Li Yundong was furious. He raised his eyebrows and glared at the girl. What did you say? Before Li Yundong became famous at the gala, few people dared to look him in the eye. Now that he was a celebrity at school, his glare doubled. Not only did the girl's aura weaken, even Xueqi, who had been waiting to watch the show, was frightened. Xueqi tugged at Su-chan's arm. All right. Let's go. Chapter 66. Forget it, Li Yundong said. Don't bother with a girl like her. She's obviously a gold digger. Feng Na laughed. Look at all the famous brands she's wearing. Her clothes are from Dior, her bag is from LV, her shoes are from Chanel, and her perfume is from CK. These are all high-end goods. Li Yundong, who was still sulking, suddenly froze. He stared at Feng Na and said, You can recognize so many famous brands? Feng Na's smile was slightly awkward. She was afraid that Li Yundong would also see her as a gold digger. Chung, who was standing beside Li Yundong, had sensed something amiss. Li Yundong, she said. Do you really think that no matter how much a woman is not a gold digger or vain, she still doesn't care about her appearance? Famous brands are every woman's favorite, unless she's not a woman. Li Yundong was deeply touched by Chung Cheng's words. He glanced at Su-chan and shook his head. Forget it, he said. I'm going back to class. He took a few steps with Su-chan, then suddenly turned around and asked, Oh right. Where is Xueqi's birthday party tonight? Feng Na said, 7:30 p.m. at the Shengyuan Hotel. Li Yundong was used to staying at home, so he had no idea what kind of hotel it was. He was too lazy to ask, so he nodded and took Su-chan back to class. There was still some time before class started, so the classroom was almost empty. Li Yundong and Su-chan were sitting at the back of the class, staring blankly into space. Li Yundong couldn't stop thinking about what Feng Na had said. Su-chan, on the other hand, felt sleepy. She kept yawning. Su-chan, Li Yundong said suddenly. Do you want me to take you to change into a new set of clothes today? Su-chan buried her head under Li Yundong's arm and said in a greasy voice, No, I'm sleepy. Let me sleep for a while. Li Yundong had never had a girlfriend before, so he didn't know how to get along with girls. Hearing Su-chan's words, his mind began to waver. Ha! Really? Su-chan narrowed her eyes and curled up into a ball like a kitten. No, this is good. Li Yundong thought back to the classic aqua-red dress Su-chan was wearing. That was the dress she was wearing when he first met her. He just couldn't figure out where it was. Could it be that she kept it? It was a pity that this long dress was too old-fashioned and too much of a stage. Otherwise, if she wore it outside, she would definitely be able to shock a large number of people, saving those who looked down on her from barking at her. Li Yundong remembered that when the little girl had first appeared by his side, she had appeared on the school campus in this red ancient dress, which had stunned a large number of people. He couldn't help but smile at the corner of his mouth. He stared quietly at Su-chan, who was sleeping soundly. He didn't dare to move a muscle, for fear that he would wake up the girl who had been given to him by the heavens. When it was almost time for class, more and more people entered the classroom. Su-chan rubbed her eyes and sat up. At this time, Xueqi entered the classroom alone. Xueqi looked at Li Yundong, hesitated for a moment, then walked up to him. She first nodded politely and reservedly to Su-chan, then looked at Li Yundong with a pair of beautiful eyes and said, Don't forget it at 7:30 tonight. After that, she smiled at Li Yundong and winked playfully. Xueqi had an almost perfect oval face. Her eyes were like stars, and her eyebrows were as thick as ink. Her facial features were like those of a beautiful lady in a meticulous painting. She was wearing a dark blue gown and a brown plaid skirt. She was both elegant and dignified, exuding the aura of a lady from a noble family. In the past, Li Yundong was used to this campus belle's calm way of speaking. Suddenly seeing her playfulness like that of a young girl, he was immediately stunned. At this moment, Li Yundong felt as if his eyes had lit up. Xueqi's smile really made him feel as if he was looking back and smiling at 100 charming people. The campus belle deserved to be called the campus belle. Even though he had confessed to her before and been rejected by her, he still couldn't put on a serious face to her now. It was obvious how powerful her beauty was. Li Yundong couldn't help but nod and said, "It starts at 7:30? Won't I starve to death by then? Do you take care of my meals or not?" Xueqi was stunned for a moment, then immediately understood that Li Yundong must have never been to this kind of banquet. He must have regarded this kind of banquet as a meal. She smiled and said, "Come early, there will be something to eat." Li Yundong laughed and said, "Okay, I'll take care of my meals. I'll definitely go if I can eat and drink for free." Xueqi smiled and said, "Then it's a deal." Li Yundong nodded at her. After watching her graceful and moving figure leave, he withdrew his gaze and found that Xueqi was still sitting next to him. Li Yundong suddenly felt very ashamed. Xueqi was sitting next to him, so why was he staring at her like that? Li Yundong quickly gathered his thoughts and muttered to himself, "It's not that I'm too playful, it's that the girl is too beautiful." In the afternoon, Li Yundong had an English class. Chris and the others didn't show up for the class. Li Yundong was happy to have a good night's sleep in class. After school, Li Yundong waved his hand and took Xueqi to a taxi. They went directly to the Shengyuan Hotel. When they arrived at the Shengyuan Hotel, Li Yundong held Xueqi's hand and stood at the entrance of the hotel in a daze. This was a 6-star luxury hotel with 58 floors. It was the only hotel in Tiannan City that was more than a 5-star hotel. The hotel was resplendent, like a large crystal spire at the top and bottom. The entire building exuded a noble and magnificent dark gold. Xueqi's eyes widened as she looked at the hotel. Although she was a cultivator, she had never seen such a luxurious place before. There were 4 revolving doors at the entrance, and there was a flower basket in front of each revolving door. Li Yundong noticed that the flower baskets were filled with freshly picked flowers. "Oh my!" Li Yundong was shocked. He felt a little uncomfortable in such a luxurious place, but fortunately, the hotel staff did not have the habit of looking down on him. They still respectfully welcomed Li Yundong and Xueqi into the hotel, their eyes lingering on Xueqi for a moment. The floor of the Shengyuan Hotel was made of transparent glass, and there was a half-meter hollowed-out space on the floor. There were all kinds of exquisite stones in the space. Coupled with the soft and elegant lighting, it made people feel as if they were walking on clouds. What a world of debauchery and debauchery! Li Yundong sighed inwardly. If he hadn't come to Xueqi's birthday party, he probably wouldn't have had the chance to attend such an occasion for the rest of his life. The people who went in and out of this kind of place were all people of the upper class. They were all dressed in suits and leather shoes, and their hair was combed straight and shiny. Most of the women around them were also dressed in gorgeous and luxurious clothes. When these people passed through the lobby and saw Li Yundong and Xueqi, all of their eyes lit up because of the handsome man and beautiful woman. But when their eyes fell on the two of them, they couldn't help but laugh in their hearts. It's really a pity that a good horse is matched with a broken saddle. Li Yundong wanted to go straight to the venue of Xueqi's party, but he was embarrassed to find that he had arrived too early. There wasn't even a sign at the entrance of the lobby to welcome guests. Excuse me." Li Yundong bit the bullet and stopped a waiter. "Where is Xueqi's birthday party being held?" "Xueqi?" The waiter was stunned for a moment and was just about to shake his head. But the lobby manager next to him noticed Li Yundong and Xueqi as soon as they entered the lobby. As soon as he heard the waiter's question, he immediately came up and said, "Are you Miss Xueqi? Hello, may I ask who you are?" "I'm her classmate," Li Yundong said. "Oh, please go up to the 3rd floor, turn right, and you'll see it," the lobby manager said. Li Yundong nodded politely to the lobby manager. "Thank you." The two of them took the elevator to the 3rd floor. Sure enough, Li Yundong saw a sign with red paper and black characters at the right corner. He smiled and said, "We're here, but it seems too early." "Just the two of us? Isn't there another one over there?" Xueqi pointed to a boy who was smoking at the door. Li Yundong smiled and walked up with Xueqi. "Excuse me, is this the place where Xueqi's birthday party is being held?" The boy was dressed in an Armani suit. He was handsome, but there was a gloomy air between his eyebrows. He was smoking with his back to Li Yundong. When he heard the noise, he turned around and looked at Li Yundong. He was shocked. This boy is so handsome. Although he was also a handsome boy, he was naturally narrow-minded. He couldn't stand people who were more handsome than him, let alone a boy like Li Yundong who was full of masculinity. The boy's voice was full of hostility. "Who are you?" he asked. Li Yundong smiled and said, "I'm Xueqi's classmate. She invited me to the party." When the boy heard this, he was shocked and angry. Her father had always arranged the guests for Xueqi's birthday party. Xueqi rarely invited people herself, but this boy was actually invited by Xueqi herself. The boy suddenly became jealous. He snorted coldly in his heart and glanced at Li Yundong. Although he saw that Li Yundong was dressed in ordinary clothes, he also knew that some people kept a low profile. This boy had been personally invited by Xueqi, so he must have something extraordinary. In addition, he had an extraordinary bearing, so maybe he had some extraordinary background. But when his eyes fell on Su Chan, he was stunned. He was shocked by Su Chan's beauty. From the first time he saw Xueqi, he didn't believe that there was a girl in this world who was more beautiful than Xueqi. But today, he saw that there really was one. Although Su Chan and Xueqi were not the same type of girl, there was not a single part of her body that wasn't beautiful. A pair of big eyes revealed a pure and innocent innocence that had not been exposed to the world. Such a look was simply lethal to men. Li Yundong saw that the boy was staring at Su Chan in a daze, and he was slightly displeased. He coughed dryly. When the boy heard the cough, he came to his senses. He turned his head abruptly and stared at Li Yundong. His heart was filled with jealousy. How could this guy have such a wonderful woman by his side, he thought. How did he win Xueqi's favor? The more he thought about it, the more annoyed he became. It was as if a ball of jealousy was burning in his chest. But then he suddenly noticed that Su Chan's clothes were not just plain. She was even wearing men's clothing, and there were oil stains on her clothes. Ha! The boy almost laughed. He suddenly measured Li Yundong's weight in his heart. "Are you Xueqi's classmate?" The boy squinted at Li Yundong, sizing him up from head to toe. Li Yundong was a little angry under the boy's gaze. He couldn't help but lower his voice. "Yes. If you don't believe me, call and ask." The boy sneered. "No need to call and ask. Even if you are, I won't let you in." Li Yundong was angry. "Why?" The boy pointed at Li Yundong. "Look at what you're wearing. Do you think this is an outing? Do you think this is an ordinary banquet? Please, dress a little more solemnly and show some respect to the host here, okay?" After that, he pointed at Su Chan again. "The woman beside you is dressed so shabbily, yet she dares to attend such a banquet. Even if you're not embarrassed, I'm embarrassed for you. Forget it. You might be able to trick other little girls. If you're poor, don't pick up beautiful women. Do you understand? Get out of here. I don't have time to talk to you." Li Yundong was so angry that he felt like his lungs were about to explode. He almost hit someone, but luckily, Su Chan grabbed him and dragged him out of the hotel. The boy saw Li Yundong being dragged away by Su Chan and smiled disdainfully. At this time, a girl walked out of the banquet hall. She was tall and dressed in sexy and fashionable clothes. It was Ding Nan. In order to help Xueqi prepare for the banquet, she didn't even go to class in the afternoon. "Young master who are you talking to?" Ding Nan glanced at the corridor. At this time, Li Yundong's figure had already disappeared into the elevator. Young master he flicked the ash off his cigarette and blew a smoke ring at Ding Nan. He said with a frivolous smile, "I was talking to two beggars, but don't worry, I sent them away." Ding Nan fanned the smoke with her hand and frowned. "How can there be beggars here? Oh, don't stand here in a daze. Come and help me. My waist is about to break." As soon as Li Yundong left the hotel, he flew into a rage. "Why did you stop me? I want to beat this snobbish bastard to death." Seeing Li Yundong so angry, Su Chan also felt very uncomfortable. She took Li Yundong's hand and said in a low voice, "Master, is it because I'm too ugly and caused you trouble?" Seeing Su Chan like this, how could Li Yundong still be angry? He coaxed, "Nonsense, you're the most beautiful. It's this bastard who looks down on me." Seeing that he was still angry, Su Chan forced a smile and said, "Then you go to the banquet. I won't go in. I'll wait for you here." Seeing that Su Chan was pitiful, Li Yundong's heart softened. "Nonsense again. Why don't you go in? Su-chan smiled. Didn't that person just say that I was dressed shabbily? I think if I don't go in, it'll be fine. You can go in naturally. Her words made Li Yundong feel that even a Vajra Arhat made of copper and iron would become soft. Li Yundong felt a burst of anger rush to the top of his head. He felt sad and distressed. He hugged Su-chan tightly and said loudly, "Nonsense! What kind of lousy banquet is this? We won't attend it." Chapter 67. This pedestrian street was a commercial street that Tiannan City had spent a lot of effort to build in the past 2 years. Li Yundong and Su-chan got out of the car as soon as they reached the entrance of the building. As soon as they got out of the car, they were greeted by the bustling commercial atmosphere of the shopping street. The sounds of promotions and music could be heard incessantly. In stark contrast to the ordinary shops, there was a long line of exclusive stores of the world's top brands lining the entrance of the shopping street. Gucci, Prada, CK, LV, Uniqlo, and other international brands lined up in a row. For a moment, Li Yundong was dazzled by the dazzling lineup of brands. Su-chan was even more flabbergasted. She had never been to a place like this before. The natural beauty factor of a female animal was rapidly expanding inside of her. Su-chan's eyes grew brighter and brighter. She tugged at Li Yundong's arm. "Are you going to take me shopping for clothes here?" Only now did Li Yundong believe what Feng Na had said. There is no woman in this world who doesn't love to dress up. At first, Li Yundong was a little hesitant when he saw these dazzling brands. He was afraid that he didn't have enough money. But when he saw Su-chan's excitement and anticipation, the trace of hesitation in his heart was thrown out the window. Women dress up for the man they love. If a man can't even satisfy a woman's request to dress up prettily for his lover, then what's the point of being a man? Li Yundong waved his hand. "I'll buy. Whatever my girl likes, I'll buy it. I'm throwing caution to the wind today." As soon as Li Yundong said that, the people around him turned to look at him. Li Yundong murmured to himself, "It feels good to be a nouveau riche." Li Yundong waved his hand, and Su-chan let out a shriek of excitement. Then, she dashed into a nearby Uniqlo store. Li Yundong shook his head with a smile and followed Su-chan into the store. As soon as they entered the store, the receptionist at the front desk bowed politely. "Hello. Welcome to the flagship store of Uniqlo." A saleswoman approached them. She wasn't very pretty, but her hair was tied up in a bun, her figure was slim, and her clothes were neat and tidy. She was very pleasing to the eye. "Hello, sir in Mississippi. How can I help you?" The saleswoman said politely and softly. It had to be said that Li Yundong was a complete otaku. In the past, he had hardly ever shopped. Even if he did, he would only go to the computer market. He didn't have a girlfriend, so he didn't understand the subtleties of shopping, especially when it came to branded stores. Therefore, he said something that made him beat his chest and stamp his feet in regret. "I brought my girlfriend here to shop for clothes. Do you have any recommendations?" "You want us to recommend? That's great." He loved this kind of customer the most. The shop assistant was overjoyed. Her eyes lit up as if she had found a sugar daddy. Logically speaking, salespeople like them would usually carefully look at the customers when promoting products, and then use their own judgment to evaluate their purchasing power, and then recommend the corresponding products to them. Otherwise, in this day and age of fierce competition, wouldn't it be suicidal to recommend things that cost hundreds of thousands to ordinary citizens, and things that cost only a few $100s to rich people? The saleswoman looked Li Yundong up and down. Although the boy was dressed in plain clothes, he had an outstanding temperament and a heroic air about him, which made him look like a famous brand. The saleswoman muttered to herself, "Could this be the son of a rich family who likes to keep a low profile?" In this line of work, a pair of sharp eyes was a must. If it was simply judging a person by their appearance and clothes, that would obviously be a failure. In this line of work, one had to judge a customer's purchasing power not only from their appearance, clothes, mannerisms, and manner of speech. Sometimes, a better judgment point was the female companion beside the customer. Although Uniqlo also specialized in men's clothing, they were most famous for their women's clothing. Moreover, most of the customers in this store were female, and the male customers were usually accompanying them. If the female companion of a male customer was prettier, sometimes the male customer would be more generous when pulling out his wallet. This was an irrefutable law. Even if there were a few stingy men, when their beautiful female companion acted coquettishly because of the beautiful clothes, they would often clench their teeth, stomp their feet, and pull out their wallets just the same. Therefore, when the shop assistant's eyes fell on Su-chan, her stunned gaze immediately raised Li Yundong's purchasing power to a whole new level. In the eyes of the beautiful shop assistant, if he dared to bring such a beautiful female companion to Uniqlo's flagship store, even if he wasn't the son of a rich family, he must have some ability. If he didn't have some ability, how would he dare to come to Liangshan? And so, the shop assistant came to a conclusion about Li Yundong in her mind. Rich man, big rich man. Big rich man, big rich man. If I don't kill you, who else would I kill? God has been kind to me. I still have a long way to go to reach my sales target for this month, and now I've sent a rich man to my door. The shop assistant smiled like a blooming flower. She walked up to Su-chan and led her to the high-end section. May I know what kind of clothes you like, young lady? She asked. Normally, an experienced customer would ask, what kind of clothes do you have here? But Su-chan didn't understand the slightest bit. She thought that every single piece of clothing in the store was just like that, and she was dazzled. So she said, any kind is fine. I think all the clothes here are very beautiful. Su-chan said. Wow, looks like I'm going to take everything. Very good, very good. The smile on the shop assistant's face grew brighter and brighter. She picked up a strawberry-colored dress and said, this is the flagship summer product of Uniqlo's flagship store. Look, the sleeves are made of silk lace, and the center is hollowed out with small flower petals. It's fresh and breathable, and it sets off this young lady's lovely temperament very well. Look at her collar, hem, and skirt. They're all made of exquisite hand-sewn lace. Although the shop assistant was talking to Su-chan, her eyes kept glancing at Li Yundong from time to time. She was well aware of the law of selling to couples. No matter how much a woman likes it, it's not as much as a man who likes it, because the man is the one who pays the bill. Su-chan took the dress from Li Yundong. She liked it very much. She held it against her body and made a cute pose. What do you think? She asked with a smile. Li Yundong sat down on a sofa specially prepared for customers and waved his hand. Go and try it on, he said. The shop assistant pointed elegantly at the dressing room next to her. You can try it on first and see how it feels and how it looks. If you don't like it, you can change again. Su-chan was overjoyed. She put on the dress and walked into the dressing room with a smile on her face. Before long, she came out wearing a strawberry-colored dress. Is it beautiful? Su-chan asked, holding the hem of the dress with both hands. She twirled in front of Li Yundong proudly. Li Yundong felt his eyes light up. It was as if a beautiful, fashionable, pure, and cute girl next door was rushing toward him. Her delicate skirt, with pleated lace edges, set off her lovely temperament to the extreme. Coupled with the warm strawberry color, her skin was crystal clear, making her look fair and rosy. It made people want to hug her and take a bite. Li Yundong thought to himself. Li Yundong's eyes lit up. Beautiful. Li Yundong nodded vigorously and sighed in his heart. Although this girl is born to be a clothes rack and looks good in everything she wears, even in my clothes, if she were to put on such branded women's clothes, she would look even better. Li Yundong thought to himself. As the saying goes, Buddha needs gold, and people need clothes. The salesperson on the side had seen many customers try on clothes and had often praised them. But sometimes it was out of commercial courtesy and was often insincere. But at this time, her praise was sincere from the bottom of her heart. It's really beautiful. I've worked here for 3 years, and I've never seen a girl who can perform this set of clothes so perfectly. If you were a model, you'd be an international top model. When Su-chan was done trying on the clothes, Li Yundong was just about to get up to pay the bill when she caught sight of a pure white miniskirt on the side. Her eyes lit up. Can I try this on? Of course, the shop assistant said with a smile. Li Yundong had just lifted his butt, but he sat back down. After watching Su-chan enter the dressing room, the shop assistant said to Li Yundong, what about this dress? Li Yundong liked the girl next door look that Su-chan looked like in this dress. Wrap it up, he said without thinking. The shop assistant was delighted. She knew that once a man decided to buy the first dress, the second one wouldn't be far away. After Su-chan changed into the second dress, the shop assistant took the strawberry-colored dress from Su-chan's hands, folded it, and put it on the counter. Su-chan was wearing a white, slanted shoulder dress. The white satin base made Su-chan look fashionable and elegant, especially her exposed shoulders, which added a touch of sexiness and charm to her. A vixen was a vixen after all. She knew how to seduce men. She didn't need anyone to teach her how to bring out the characteristics and style of this dress. Su-chan put one hand on her hip, raised her shoulder, and put the other hand on her bare shoulder. She winked at Li Yundong. Li Yundong felt a shiver run down his spine. His heart was pounding, and his mouth was dry. He suppressed his impulse and thought, what a charming little vixen. The shop assistant was also stunned. She suddenly felt embarrassed to stay any longer. This girl was a vixen in the world of mortals. She was here to seduce men. Compared to her, the methods he used to deal with men in the past were simply at the level of a kindergarten class. He was only at the level of a doctoral supervisor. Beautiful, isn't it? Su-chan asked. She spun in a circle in front of Li Yundong and struck a model pose. The skirt was not long to begin with, but it rose and fell slightly, revealing the fair roots of her thighs. Li Yundong wanted to rip the skirt apart and see the limitless beauty underneath. Li Yundong was dumbfounded. All he could do was nod. Beautiful. Beautiful. The shop assistant struck while the iron was hot. What about this one? She asked. Pack it all up. Li Yundong said without hesitation. The shop assistant beamed with joy. Li Yundong lifted his butt again. These two should be enough, right? He thought. But Su-chan saw that he was about to leave, so she threw herself into his arms and grabbed his arm. I'll look at it a little longer, she said coquettishly. If you don't want to buy it, then I'll just look. Li Yundong thought. He was just going to look, not buy anyway. Okay, I'll look. But was there a cat in this world that wouldn't eat a fish? No. So in this world, there was no beautiful woman who would only look and not buy. Chapter 68. As Su-chan changed from one set of clothes to another, Li Yundong could feel himself starting to feel conflicted. No matter which set of clothes Su-chan wore, she carried the style and characteristics of the set of clothes incisively and vividly. It was 100% perfect. When she wore cute clothes, Su-chan was so cute that Li Yundong wanted to rub her in his arms and dote on her. When she wore office clothes, she also exuded a sense of shrewdness and competence. Especially when the little girl wore sexy dresses that exposed her navel or shoulders, Li Yundong felt that he was simply undergoing a test and torture of desire. Li Yundong liked every set of clothes that Su-chan changed into. Women love to dress up and look beautiful, but what man didn't like his woman to be beautiful every day? Plus, some of the customers in the store who were also shopping for clothes turned to look at Su-chan, praising her. Naturally, Li Yundong took a look at one set of clothes and said, Okay. Bye. When he came back to his senses, he found that there were already dozens of shopping bags on the counter. Li Yundong was secretly shocked. He took a peek at the clothes on the shelves when the shopping guide was not paying attention. He was horrified to find that each of these clothes cost hundreds of yuan. Holy shit! Li Yundong counted on his fingers. It cost thousands of yuan. Li Yundong's heart trembled. But when he saw Su-chan smiling like a flower, he thought of those snobs who had looked down on him. He suddenly thought, what's the big deal? Can't you afford it? When Su-chan changed into another set of clothes, it suddenly occurred to Li Yundong that most of the clothes she had seen just now were for everyday wear. If I attend Xueqi's birthday party, I need to get a beautiful set of clothes to impress these bastards. Li Yundong asked the shopping guide. Do you have any dresses for grand occasions? Can you introduce them to me? Hearing this, the shopping guide's heart skipped a beat. As a staff member in the clothing industry, of course, she knew that the real windfall of clothing was this kind of dress. She suppressed her surprise and asked, Excuse me, what kind of grand occasion is it for? The kind of very important birthday party, Li Yundong said. He thought about it and was afraid that the clothes introduced by the shopping guide weren't shocking enough, so he added, a large-scale birthday party. Of course, the saleswoman understood what Li Yundong meant. She smiled so widely that her eyes nearly disappeared. She led Su-chan to another section and pointed at a model's purple dress. What do you think of this one? Su-chan nodded. What do you think? Li Yundong took a closer look and was immediately shocked. This was an extremely seductive, deep purple, off-the-shoulder silk dress. Below the skirt, there were layers upon layers of handmade trimmings that were like layers upon layers of clouds, giving off a strong sense of wealth. Li Yundong couldn't imagine what a little girl like Su-chan would look like in that elegant dress. He touched the dress with his hand and felt it smooth and cool. Then, he looked at the price tag and was shocked. 13,000 renminbi. Hiss. Li Yundong sucked in a breath of cold air. The price of this set of clothes had obviously exceeded his expectations. The saleswoman immediately smiled and said, "This purple dress is currently the flagship dress of our flagship store. You can let her try it first. It's okay if she doesn't want to buy it." Li Yundong was stunned for a moment. He glanced at Su-chan and made up his mind. "Okay, let her try it first," he said. Su-chan was a little stunned when she saw the dress, but when she looked at the price tag, she was also shocked. She didn't dare to think about it anymore until Li Yundong really let her try it on. She couldn't believe her ears and said with surprise and joy, "Really? Can I really try it on?" Seeing the overjoyed look on her face, Li Yundong immediately smiled and said, "Go ahead." He sighed in his heart. "I'm risking my life to accompany this girl today." Su-chan was overjoyed. She took the dress from the saleswoman and went into the fitting room. Li Yundong found that his mouth was a little dry from waiting, so he grabbed her and said, "You try it on here. I'll go out and buy you some drinks." At this time, there were other female customers in the store who were also trying on clothes. They glanced at Su-chan with envy and jealousy, then said to her male companion in a coquettish tone, Look, he buys everything his girlfriend wants. He even knows to buy his girlfriend a drink because he's afraid she'll be thirsty. You're not even willing to buy me a dress." The male companion had no choice but to say, Okay. What do you want to buy? I'll buy it." As Li Yundong walked out of the door, he thought back to what the woman had said just now and felt a burst of joy in his heart. So it turns out that vanity is not a bad thing. The little girl has beautiful clothes, and I also have a lot of face. At the entrance of the business street, almost all of the shops were brand stores. In addition to clothes, bags and shoes, there were international famous brand stores, such as Xueqi, Chow Tai Fook, and Swarovski. Li Yundong wanted to buy a drink, but he walked a long way. When he walked to a cocoa milk tea shop, he found that there was a long line. Li Yundong had never liked carbonated drinks. He only liked milk tea, so he didn't want to compromise, so he had to wait in line. When he finally bought 2 cups of pudding milk tea and walked back, he found that he had been out for more than 40 minutes. When he returned to the store, the customers who had been looking at clothes had basically all left. The receptionist smiled at him politely, and Li Yundong smiled back, then went straight to the dressing room where Su-chan had changed clothes. He came to the dressing room and said, "Hey, the drinks are here." But no one answered. Li Yundong was a little surprised to find that there was a rustling sound coming from the dressing room, but the door was unlocked. Li Yundong's heart suddenly moved, and evil thoughts rose in his mind. The little girl is changing clothes? She won't be angry if I take a peek, will she? Li Yundong's mind was in turmoil. I'm already so close to this little girl, so it's okay to take a peek. He made up his mind, and with an evil smile on his face, he yanked open the dressing room door with the hand holding the cup and shouted, "Surprise! Surprise!" But as soon as Li Yundong opened the door, he was shocked. There was a girl about 1.6 meters tall in the dressing room. She was bare-chested, holding a piece of clothing in her hand, and staring at Li Yundong blankly. The girl had delicate features and a sweet face. She didn't look very old, and there was a little baby fat on her cheeks, but her breasts were very big. She was a typical asterisk. Why isn't it Su-chan? Li Yundong was dumbfounded. His eyes were fixed on the 2 bright red dots on the girl's upper body. He was nervous, and his hand that was holding the cup of milk tea unconsciously tightened. Suddenly, there was a splat, and the milk tea sprayed out of the cup, spraying right on the girl's face and chest. This scene is too evil. There was a buzzing sound in Li Yundong's head. He suddenly remembered the films he had seen in the expo group before. The scenes played by the Japanese stars Song something or other, Ozawa something or other, and Ji something or other. No matter if they were filmed or not, cavalry or infantry, they suddenly flashed through Li Yundong's mind like a tide. Li Yundong had never experienced such a thing before. His mind was blank, and he froze on the spot. The girl in the dressing room obviously had never experienced such a thing before. She was also stunned on the spot, even forgetting to cover up. The two of them stared at each other for a while, and Li Yundong suddenly came to his senses. He said in a panic, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. After that, he reached out to wipe the drink off the girl's face and chest with his sleeve. But as soon as he reached out, the girl suddenly let out a scream of more than 200 decibels. Ah! Li Yundong was so scared that his hand immediately trembled and he withdrew it. He held the teacup with both hands and covered his ears, grimacing in pain. He looked ridiculous. After the girl screamed, she slammed the door of the locker room shut. After a while, she opened it again and rushed out in a threatening manner. Damn pervert! The girl was filled with righteous indignation and kept pressing toward Li Yundong. Li Yundong knew that he was in the wrong, so he kept backing away until he reached the low sofa behind him and sat down. He hurriedly explained, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. Bah! The girl spat and shouted in a shrill voice. You said you didn't mean to do it? I think you did it on purpose. Not only did you do it on purpose, but you must have had a premeditated plan. Li Yundong was a little confused. Hey, what premeditated plan? The girl pointed at Li Yundong and shouted, I can tell at a glance that a boy like you is a big pervert. You've been following me for a long time, haven't you? What are you doing sneaking around my door? Li Yundong was dumbfounded. Hey, you've got the wrong person, haven't you? Bah! There's no way I would mistake a wretched, shameless, despicable, evil, filthy man like you for someone else. The girl said through gritted teeth. She was talking very fast, and her words were very clear and articulate. Li Yundong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Hey, are you doing a crosstalk? You must have got the wrong person. I thought my girlfriend was in there. That's why there was such a misunderstanding. The girl spat again. Bah! Someone like you, who is covered in pus and blisters from head to toe, is worthy of a girlfriend? Don't try to fool me. Do you think I'm that gullible? Li Yundong was a little annoyed by the girl's scolding. Hey, don't go too far, he said angrily. I really came here with my girlfriend. She was changing in this dressing room earlier. That's why I got the wrong person. Your dressing room isn't closed. How would I know? The girl suddenly flew into a rage. Her magnificent breasts jiggled. How can you blame me for this? You have a girlfriend. Where's the proof? Li Yundong quickly pointed at the receptionist, who was laughing so hard that her mouth was covered. Here, she can testify. The receptionist quickly adjusted her expression when she saw that the flames of war had spread to her. Just as she was about to speak, the girl pointed at her and said loudly, Hey, do you know me? Be careful what you say. If you dare to lie, I promise you that you won't be able to open this store anymore. The receptionist looked at the girl and secretly disapproved of her, but she didn't show it on her face. She politely and appropriately revealed a bit of embarrassment. Miss, she said politely, he really came here with his girlfriend. This can be proved by the store's surveillance video. Li Yundong immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Good heavens, I finally get rid of the suspicion of this pervert. Fortunately, I didn't get treated as a stinking pervert. But the girl was not happy. She said angrily, even if you have a girlfriend, she's the super ugly and disgusting kind. What kind of girl can a guy like you find? Li Yundong could tolerate people talking bad about him, but he absolutely could not tolerate people talking bad about Xueqi. He suddenly flew into a rage. Bullshit! My girl is 100 times more beautiful than you. The girl laughed loudly. Absolutely not. Say it out loud if you dare. == Chapter 69. Li Yundong and the girl turned their heads and saw the saleswoman from before walk in. Behind her was a girl in a long purple dress. It was Xueqi's smooth, fair shoulders were exposed, and a large part of her snow-white chest was also exposed. The girl's full, soft breasts revealed a sexy curve, and the shape of her breasts was full and perfect. A sparkling diamond necklace hung from the girl's snow-white chest between her breasts, making it look like a precious jewel. There was a hand-sewn waistline at the waist of the long dress, so the girl's slender waist was seductively slim. The satin clung to her soft waist, and when it reached her crotch, it was shockingly protruding, outlining the shape of a gourd. Li Yundong's eyes lingered on Su Chan's amazing curves for a long time, and he couldn't help but move down. The purple skirt under her feet piled up like a mountain range, making her look like a fairy stepping on colorful clouds. The purple dress was sexy and charming, dignified and elegant, and all kinds of temperament were perfectly displayed by Su Chan. For a moment, the exclusive store was silent. Whether it was the receptionist who had been watching the fun, Li Yundong who had been annoyed, or the girl who had been noisy and angry, all of them were staring at Su Chan, stunned by her beauty. Li Yundong noticed that, in addition to the purple dress, Su Chan's hair had also been dried, combed and cut. Su Chan's long jet-black hair was tied up in a high bun, which made it look like a dark cloud. The elegant hairstyle perfectly matched the dignified elegance of the gown, and the pair of black peep-toe high heels she was wearing set off her slim figure and sexy beauty. Li Yundong was so stunned that he even forgot to show off to the girl who had quarreled with him. He stammered, "Yub." The saleswoman hurried over and said apologetically, "I'm sorry. We waited for you for a long time, and when you didn't show up, we took the initiative to take this young lady to try on a pair of high heels in the shop next door. While she was trying on the heels, the hair salon next door insisted on doing a free hairstyle for this young lady. All she had to do was help them take a promotional photo. This lady didn't object, so..." Only then did Li Yundong realize that Su Chan's beauty and temperament had caused quite a stir in the area. The hair salon was using her as a living advertisement. "What about these?" Li Yundong asked, pointing at Su Chan's high heels. The saleswoman glanced at Su Chan enviously and said, "The owner of the shoe store wanted this young lady to be the spokesperson of their shoe store, so he gave her a pair of shoes." Li Yundong asked in surprise, "You promised them?" Su Chan said with a smile, "No." Li Yundong was even more surprised. "What about for free?" The shop assistant next to her explained, "It's not completely free. The shop owner just hopes that when people ask about this pair of shoes, this lady can promote their shop more. Of course, if this lady is willing to be a spokesperson or a model for this brand, this kind of shoes will be free in the future." Li Yundong pointed at the gemstone necklace on her chest. "What's going on here?" The saleswoman explained, "This is a custom-made accessory for this gown. If you don't like it, you don't have to take it." Li Yundong's eyes widened when he heard that. Good heavens, you really changed from head to toe just to buy a set of clothes. The girl who was arguing with Li Yundong was stunned. She stared at Su Chan, as if she couldn't believe her eyes. Is there really such a beautiful woman in this world? The girl was a rare beauty herself. She had been proud of her beauty since she was a child, but now that she saw a beauty of this level, she couldn't help but be shocked. Su Chan's famous brands and jewelry were secondary. The most important thing was that not only was she able to wear this expensive gown, shoes, and jewelry with ease, she could also give these clothes a whole new look with her unique temperament. When a beautiful woman wore these clothes and accessories, she could display their characteristics and temperament. She was already a famous model. When a beautiful woman wore these clothes and accessories, she could also give these clothes and accessories a unique charm. This was not something that a model could do. Who is this woman? From the looks of it, she really seemed to be this pervert's girlfriend? Impossible, absolutely impossible. How could such a dirty and shameless man have such a beautiful girlfriend? The girl shook her head hard, unable to believe the facts in front of her. Su Chan saw that Li Yundong was staring at her, so she waved her hand in front of his eyes and said in a sweet voice, "What's wrong? Don't you know your girl?" Li Yundong swallowed hard and asked, "You are too beautiful, aren't you? I can't even recognize you." Su Chan's eyes were bright, and she giggled. "No matter how beautiful she is still your girl." Li Yundong laughed. Only then did he remember the girl who had been angry with him. He turned his face, put one hand around the girl's waist, and then gave her a provocative look. The girl was so angry that she wanted to jump up and break the two of them apart, so that this pure and beautiful girl could get away from the claws of this big pervert. It's really annoying. When have I, Shen Hui, ever suffered like this? Shen Hui was so angry that she saw stars. So I was taken advantage of before? No, absolutely not. I can't let this big pervert take advantage of me. Well, he must be a big pervert. The saleswoman glanced at Su Chan, then at Li Yundong. Suddenly she said, "Sir, The lady beside you is so beautiful. Would you like to change into a different dress for yourself as well? Li Yundong asked. Li Yundong thought about it. Yes, Su Chan can't be like a fairy, and I can't be like a beggar, can I? He thought for a moment and nodded. Do you have men's clothes here? At this time, the shopping guide looked at Li Yundong as if he was a moving gold ingot. She said with a smile, the east side of this store is the men's section. Do you need me to choose for you? Li Yundong rarely bought clothes, so he was happy to save himself some trouble, so he nodded. After a while, the shopping guide picked out a black suit and handed it to Li Yundong. Li Yundong took it and went into the dressing room to change. As soon as he walked out, everyone's eyes suddenly lit up. Li Yundong was full of masculinity and heroic spirit. After changing into this neat suit, he suddenly looked mature and steady. Standing next to Su Chan, he was really a talented man and a beautiful woman, and they brought out the best in each other. Even Shen Hui, who was angry to the side, was stunned. She couldn't help but think to herself, this guy is quite handsome. No, even if this guy is wearing a suit, he is still a beast. Li Yundong carefully looked at himself in the mirror. Beside him, Su Chan smiled like a flower. He smiled and said, well, a perfect match. This girl is very suitable for me. Su Chan smiled proudly. Of course. After saying that, the two of them looked at each other and laughed. The shopping guide and the receptionist couldn't help but smile and look at Su Chan enviously. Li Yundong said to the shopping guide, well, how much is it? Can I pay by card? After that, he took out a bank card from his pocket and muttered to himself, this is a big loss. How much money? At least more than 20,000, right? The receptionist quickly calculated and said with a smile, hello, your total bill is 98,300. Li Yundong's hand trembled, and the bank card almost fell to the ground. How much? The receptionist continued. The total is 98,300. After giving you a discount, the total is 70,000. Li Yundong took a deep breath. Good heavens, I have worked hard to save money for several years, and now I have to buy it back to before liberation. I am going to be in deficit and bankrupt. Are you kidding me? Li Yundong took a deep breath. So much. Shan Hui, who was standing to one side, finally seized an opportunity to mock Li Yundong. She sneered and said, nonsense, that necklace alone costs more than 40,000. As soon as Li Yundong heard this, he subconsciously wanted to refuse the necklace, but Shen Hui sneered and said, don't come to this kind of place if you don't have money. People like you can only go in and out of those street stalls. After all, Li Yundong was young, irritable and impulsive. He suddenly became angry, and his face turned red. Who said I can't afford it? After that, he threw the card on the front desk and said, card. Su Chan, who was standing to one side, pulled Li Yundong's hand and whispered, I don't want this necklace. I really don't want it. We don't have money to buy it like this, do we? Although Su Chan's words were reasonable, Li Yundong saw that one of her hands was touching the necklace on her neck reluctantly. He smiled and said, you bought a horse. Don't you think you can't buy a saddle? It's not like you can't afford it. Li Yundong's heart was bleeding. Diamonds are forever, and a single one is enough to make me go bankrupt. Fortunately, I can overdraft this card, or I will be in big trouble today. Su Chan bit her lip and shook her head. No, if we don't have money, we will be living on the streets. The unhappiness in Li Yundong's heart suddenly disappeared. He laughed and reached out to pat the little girl's head, only to see that the little girl's black hair was falling sideways. If he touched it, her hair would definitely be disheveled. He couldn't help but withdraw his hand, wave it, and say heroically, it's okay. As a man, I'm willing to do everything for you. Ahem, I'm willing to break up your family. Li Yundong almost didn't say something inappropriate for children, but the female staff in the store were all adults. How could they not understand him? They all giggled. After Li Yundong swiped his card, he and Su Chan swaggered out of the Uniqlo store like generals who had just returned to the court after a victory. Their bags were both big and small. Chapter 70. As a college student, Li Yundong didn't know how hard it was to make money. He didn't take the 70,000 yuan seriously. When he heard someone praise Xueqi like that, he was so happy that every pore of his was smiling. He was 100 times happier than when someone praised him. Don't talk nonsense. Let's go to Hongxing New District. Li Yundong waved his hand proudly. After the two of them left in a taxi, the shopping guide at the door withdrew her gaze and sighed faintly. Alas, if I had such a rich and handsome man, it would be worth it even if I died. The receptionist smiled ambiguously and said, "A man who would die for you?" The shopping guide laughed and said, "Go on. Nowadays, it's easy to find a man who is willing to die for you, isn't it? Nowadays, men are all perverts. As long as you are beautiful, you just need to crook your finger, and they will come to you like a dog. It's rare to find a man who is willing to break up his family for you." The receptionist laughed and said, "If this man broke up his family for you, would you still be with him?" The shopping guide raised her eyebrows and said without hesitation, "Of course, why not? Do I look like such a heartless person? I believe that he will make a comeback." The receptionist said, "Are you willing to eat steamed buns, pickled vegetables, drink cold water, live in a rented house without air conditioning, live in a smoky neighborhood, squeeze on a stinky bus every day, and have endless housework waiting for you when you go home?" The shopping guide had goosebumps all over her body. "Hey, is it that horrible?" The receptionist asked, "If it is so horrible, will you be with him?" The shopping guide was silent. Her raised eyebrows gradually fell down, and finally showed a sigh. The two women looked at each other and were about to sigh about how difficult it was to find a good man these days. Suddenly, they heard Xueqi, who had been in a daze, stomp her feet and say bitterly, "What's so good about this kind of man? Sooner or later, I will expose his animal face." After that, she rushed out angrily. Li Yundong had wanted to take Xueqi directly to the Shangyuan Hotel, but when he looked at the big and small bags in her hands, he felt that it was really inappropriate. Otherwise, what would it look like if the two of them were dressed in dazzling clothes and carried big and small bags like migrant workers? When they got home, they threw the trophies in their hands on the sofa and immediately rushed to the Shangyuan Hotel without stopping. The driver in the front seat kept sneaking glances at Xueqi through the rearview mirror, just like the previous driver. Li Yundong was starting to get impatient. He rapped on the seat in front of him. "Hey, watch the road. What if there's a car accident?" The driver reluctantly withdrew his gaze. "Yundong, I'm starving to death," Xueqi said, pulling on his arm. "Yundong." Li Yundong looked at the time. It was almost 8 o'clock. They were already late. He and Xueqi had been playing outside for nearly 3 hours. Even an Iron Man would be hungry. He smiled at Xueqi, "Eat as much as you want when we get to the banquet later. Eat as much as you want." Xueqi was instantly overjoyed. She beamed with joy. "Really? Won't you say that I eat too much?" Li Yundong laughed and said, "I didn't cook the food, and I'm not paying for it. You can eat as much as you want and as much as you can." Xueqi's eyes lit up, and she almost drooled. The two of them finally arrived at the Shangyuan Hotel. When they got out of the car, the waiter who opened the door for them stared at Xueqi, which made her hair stand on end. She took Li Yundong's hand and said timidly, "What if we get kicked out again?" Li Yundong looked up and laughed. "I'd like to see who's going to kick me out." After that, he pulled Xueqi inside. As soon as they reached the lobby, a foreigner who was dragging his suitcase saw Xueqi. His eyes widened so much that they almost popped out of their sockets. As he walked, he turned his head to look at Xueqi and accidentally bumped into the glass of the door. Immediately, he covered his nose and squatted down. Li Yundong was very happy. "Serves you right for looking at me." Before he could finish speaking, he saw several people around him bump into each other, and people were thrown off their feet. Li Yundong looked around like a villain who had achieved success. He reached out his hand and motioned for Xueqi to hold his arm. "See," he whispered. "They're all looking at you." Xueqi snickered. "I'm so nervous," she said with both excitement and timidity. Li Yundong chuckled. "Don't be afraid. I'm here. You won't be nervous when you see food later." As soon as Xueqi heard that she would be able to eat in a while, her stomach suddenly rumbled like thunder. She pulled Li Yundong's arm hard. Let's go. I'm starving." Li Yundong laughed and scolded. "You really get excited when it comes to food. Are you a pig?" The two of them got into the elevator under the shocked gazes of the people around them. As soon as the elevator door closed, there was a whisper in the lobby. Which family's son and daughter are they? I don't know. I've never seen them before. Why do they look a little familiar? If you ask me, look at their temperament and style, they look a little like the son and daughter of the Shen family. Well, it's possible, it's very possible. Only the Shen family can produce such handsome talents. Just as Li Yundong and Su Chan were taking the elevator upstairs, Ding Nan was arguing with a boy in the corner of the banquet hall. Young Master He, I don't mean to scold you, but how could you drive away the guests invited by Zhou Qin? The boy called Young Master He was the one who had used harsh words to anger Li Yundong at the door. He said disapprovingly, "Who are you talking about? Why can't I understand what you're saying?" Ding Nan said angrily. "The two beggars you said you drove away before. I asked the waiter on this floor. They are the friends invited by Zhou Qin." Young Master He curled his lips and said, "Zhou Qin's taste is getting more and more vulgar. How could she hang out with such people? She even invited beggars to the banquet. Isn't she afraid of losing face for the Zhou family?" If it had been in the past, Ding Nan would have agreed with young Master He's words very much. But recently, Li Yundong seemed to have changed into a different person. In the past, Li Yundong was dim and would immediately disappear if he was thrown into the crowd. But now, Li Yundong was dazzling. No matter where he was, he could become the focus of everyone. How could she still judge him by his previous standards? Yoop! Ding Nan stomped her feet. Just as she was about to speak, Zhou Qin walked over with a smile on her face. "What are you talking about here?" Ding Nan glared at young Master He with hatred. "Ask him yourself." Zhou Qin looked at young Master He with a smile and did not speak. There was a frightening power in her quiet eyes and smile. Young Master He felt uneasy under Zhou Qin's gaze. He subconsciously avoided Zhou Qin's gaze and said with a smile, "Qin Qin, you're so beautiful today." Zhou Qin was wearing a red cheongsam today. Her two white and long thighs were faintly discernible at the opening of the cheongsam, which was extremely alluring. She held a transparent crystal cup and took a sip as if she hadn't heard young Master He's praise. Then she looked at Ding Nan and said, "You tell me." While Zhou Qin and young Master He were talking, from time to time, an elegant gentleman would come up to toast her and praise her beauty and temperament. Zhou Qin dealt with everyone politely and appropriately. Although she seemed to be doing it with ease, her eyes seemed to be looking for something, and her eyes looked a little unfocused. Ding Nan snorted coldly. "Didn't you ask me why Li Yundong hasn't come yet?" As soon as she heard Li Yundong's name, Zhou Qin immediately became much more focused. Her unfocused eyes focused. "Ha! Why?" Ding Nan glanced at young Master He and said coldly, "Are you sure it's appropriate for me to say it?" Young Master He snorted coldly and said, "Humph, Zhou Qin, it's not that I want to criticize you, but you should at least make some friends. How dare he come to such a place dressed like a farmer?" Zhou Qin's eyes gradually turned cold. "Did you drive him away?" Young Master He snorted coldly and said, "I didn't drive him away. I just told a poor boy like him that this is not a place for people like him to come and go." Zhou Qin's face was as dark as water, and there was no joy or anger on her face. She was as shrewd as a middle-aged man in his 40s, not like a 19-year-old girl at all. She just stared at young Master He and did not say a word for a long time. This kind of gaze was like ice. Not only did young Master He feel goosebumps all over his body, even Ding Nan, who knew Zhou Qin the best, felt that this atmosphere was simply creepy. After a while, Zhou Qin suddenly smiled. She snapped her fingers at the waiter who was shuttling back and forth in the banquet hall. "Is there anything I can do for you?" Of course, the waiter knew that the main character here tonight was Zhou Qin, so he said to Zhou Qin respectfully. Zhou Qin pointed at the wine glass in young Master He's hand and said, "Help this gentleman take the wine glass in his hand and then send him away." Young Master He was shocked and angry. "Zhou Qin, are you crazy?" Ding Nan also widened her eyes, as if she couldn't believe her ears. She pulled Zhou Qin's arm with a face full of horror. "Zhou Qin, you don't have to make such a big deal out of it. It's hard to explain to old Master He." Zhou Qin sneered and glanced at Ding Nan, scaring her into retracting her hand. Then she looked at young Master He coldly. "Didn't you understand what I said?" Young Master He and Xueqi were both from official families, and he had grown up together with Xueqi. The two families were on good terms. When had he ever been slapped in the face by Xueqi in front of outsiders? He was ashamed and angry at the same time. His face turned purple, and his hand holding the wine glass was trembling. Good. Xueqi, how dare you treat me like this for a good-for-nothing gigolo? Xueqi said coldly, whoever is disrespectful to my friend is disrespectful to me. Whoever is disrespectful to me, I will disrespect them. Young Master He, please. I won't see you off. Young Master He was so angry that he subconsciously wanted to smash the glass, but Xueqi's eyes suddenly glared at him. How dare you smash the glass and disturb my birthday banquet? Young Master He's entire body trembled, and he couldn't smash the hand he had raised. Ding Nan, who was at the side, quickly helped him get out of the situation. Young Master He, it's okay. Xueqi is just angry. When Sheeb. Before she could finish, Xueqi said sternly, Ding Nan, do you want to go with him? Ding Nan couldn't continue and could only look at young Master He helplessly. Young Master He's face turned from red to pale. He fiercely drank the wine glass in his hand and then threw it into the arms of the waiter who was already sweating profusely. He gritted his teeth and said, Xueqi, let me tell you, you fell out with me for a gigolo. I'll remember it. But what I want to tell you is that for a pretty boy like him, if he's not popular, he'll never be popular. As soon as he finished speaking, the sound of a glass shattering suddenly came from the banquet hall. Ding Nan's heart trembled when she heard this. Who was it? How could the glass shatter so coincidentally? This sound attracted everyone's attention. When they looked, they saw a waiter staring in the direction of the door with his mouth agape. The tray in his hand tilted bit by bit unknowingly, and the glass on it also slid down bit by bit unknowingly. There was another series of sound of wine glasses shattering. This sound was extremely ear-piercing in the banquet, but no one paid any more attention to the sound of these wine glasses shattering. Their eyes were all staring blankly at the door. For a moment, the banquet hall was so silent that one could hear a pin drop. Well. I'll explain how to throw flowers to my friends who are reading on their phones. First, please search for novel website on Baidu, then click on the link, and then register on this website. Finally, search for the book Raising a Vixen at Home on this website, and then you can send flowers. Of course, at the beginning, there will be very few flowers, but it will slowly increase. I hope that everyone will support Tang Tang. Thank you very much. Chapter 71. The men were so shocked that their eyes widened. Even the most gentlemanly of men couldn't help but lose their composure. The waiter, who was pouring wine, spilled it all over the man in front of him, but the man didn't seem to notice it at all. His eyes were fixed on Xueqi, just like the waiter. It was as if he wanted to swallow this girl whole. The women in the room were staring at Li Yundong with glowing eyes. It's rare to see such a handsome and heroic man. I wonder which family's scion he comes from. Sigh, how good would it be if I was his female companion? Xueqi felt a little timid in the face of so many pairs of eyes. She subconsciously tried to hide behind Li Yundong. Li Yundong pinched her forearm and whispered, Don't be afraid. Their eyes are so scary. Xueqi whispered back, It's like they're going to eat me alive. Li Yundong smiled. Don't worry. I'm here. Xueqi relaxed when she heard Li Yundong's warm and forceful words. She looked at him with a smile. At that moment, Xueqi seemed to have forgotten her true identity and the fact that she was a cultivator. It was as if she really was just a delicate, powerless, and beautiful young lady from a noble family. Xueqi and Ding Nan were also staring at Xueqi. Xueqi's words echoed in her mind, and she subconsciously said in a low voice, I feel sorry for you when I see you, let alone an old servant like me. When Ding Nan heard that, she stared at Xueqi and whispered, Yeah. During the Northern and Southern dynasties, there was an official who married a woman with the surname Li as his mistress. As a result, when the first wife of a princess heard about it, her jealousy soared to the heavens. She brought a knife and wanted to destroy the appearance of the mistress. But when the mistress walked up to the mistress, she saw the mistress combing her hair in front of a mirror. She was beautiful, and her words were sad. The jealous mistress couldn't help but feel her heart soften. She dropped the knife in her hand, hugged the mistress, and said something that had been passed down through the ages. I feel sorry for you when I see you, let alone an old servant like me. Even the jealous mistress felt sorry for the mistress, let alone those stinky men. How beautiful would it be? In the eyes of the crowd, this girl still looked like a young girl. Her eyes still had a natural tenderness and innocence. If she were to grow up a few more years, what kind of demon would she become? Xueqi was supposed to be the dazzling princess of this party, but Su Chan's appearance suddenly overshadowed her. Young Master He, who had humiliated Li Yundong before, also widened his eyes at this time. He couldn't believe his eyes. Xueqi glanced at him and said lightly, "Young Master He, if I were you, even if no one drives me away, I would have no face to stay here. Don't tell me you're waiting to be humiliated later?" Young Master He flew into a rage out of humiliation. His face and neck turned red. Who does he think he is? How dare he humiliate me? He thought that because he was the son of an official, ordinary people would be respectful to him and speak to him humbly. Who would dare to take the initiative to provoke him? But he had never expected that Li Yundong would never hold a grudge, because if he had a grudge, he would take revenge on the spot. Li Yundong's gaze swept the scene and saw Xueqi and young Master He together. He immediately pulled Su Chan over and really came over to slap them in the face. Young Master He watched Li Yundong and Su Chan walk over. His expression was a little unnatural, as if he was sitting on pins and needles. He wanted to leave, but what he had said before made him embarrassed. Li Yundong nodded at Xueqi with a smile, then turned to young Master He and said, "What else do you want to say this time?" Young Master He's face turned red and he was speechless. Li Yundong looked at young Master He up and down, then pulled Su Chan to his side and said, "The reason why my Su Chan doesn't dress up is because I'm afraid that some people will judge people by their appearance and those who judge people by their clothes will feel inferior. It's not that I can't, it's that I don't want to. Do you understand? Do you need me to translate it more clearly?" When men slapped each other in the face, the fiercest slap was not the one with the most force, but the one in front of the most beautiful girl. Even if it was a light slap, it was definitely a great humiliation. Li Yundong slapped young Master He hard in the face, making his face turn purple like a pig's liver. Li Yundong choked young Master He until he couldn't speak. He only felt that he had vented his anger. He turned to Xueqi and said apologetically, "I'm sorry, I'm not referring to you. However, Su Chan and I came here in high spirits today, but we didn't expect to encounter such a thing. It's really disappointing. The reason why I brought Su Chan back is to show some people who look down on people, so that they won't be able to change their ways in the future." Young Master He was furious. He pointed at Li Yundong and said, "Yub." Xueqi interrupted young Master He coldly. "Young Master He, if people humiliate others, they will humiliate themselves. You asked for it. What did I tell you before?" Young Master He was furious. He glared at Li Yundong fiercely and viciously. Li Yundong had the Jindan's primordial qi in his body, and his essence, qi, and blood were incredibly vigorous. In addition, he was a young man, so his ambition was naturally extremely high. How could he take such a person seriously? He immediately glared back at him. Li Yundong's glare was so sharp that even a person who had practiced martial arts for a long time would not be able to withstand it. How could a playboy like young Master He stand it? Young Master He immediately avoided his gaze and took a step back in shock. But he quickly reacted. In the end, he looked at Xueqi with shame and anger, gritted his teeth, and left quickly. Li Yundong glanced at young Master He's back and sneered. He turned to Xueqi and said, "I'm sorry to have made things difficult for you. I don't think it's appropriate for me to stay at this banquet any longer." Xueqi frowned slightly. Seeing this, Ding Nan immediately smiled and said, "Li Yundong, you're being unkind. Xueqi has offended young Master He for you, and you actually want to turn around and leave? Even if we are willing to let you go, look back. The people here are not willing to let you go." Li Yundong turned his head and found that most of the young men in the hall were looking at Su Chan, while the women and the older men were looking at him. Their eyes were shining, and they were eager to come up and talk to him. Li Yundong hesitated for a moment. Just as he was about to speak, he heard a familiar voice from beside him. "Li Yundong, you're finally here." Li Yundong turned his head and saw Feng Na and Cheng Cheng walking over with a smile. Seeing the two girls, Li Yundong immediately smiled and said, "You're here too." Feng Na and Xueqi nodded as a greeting, then said with a smile, Not only us, Xueqi also invited Chris and the others. As she spoke, Feng Na pointed to a corner of the hall. Sure enough, Li Yundong saw the group of foreigners from the University of Pennsylvania gathered together, drinking and chatting. It was obvious that these foreigners often attended such social parties, so they were very familiar with each other. From time to time, they would laugh loudly in their place. When Li Yundong looked at them, Chris, John, and the others were also keenly aware of Li Yundong's gaze and looked at him. When their eyes met, Chris snorted and turned her head away, no longer looking at Li Yundong. John raised his glass to Li Yundong to show his respect. Li Yundong laughed in his heart. John is more kind. With Chris's performance, she still wants to be his disciple? She must be dreaming. Xueqi found that Li Yundong had no intention of leaving at this time. Her slightly frowning eyebrows gradually relaxed. She smiled at Li Yundong and said, Li Yundong, have a good time. Take whatever you want to eat from the main table. Then, Xueqi nodded to Xueqi, who was beside Li Yundong, and left. Li Yundong watched Xueqi leave gracefully and muttered to himself, why does this girl not look like a normal person at all? She looks like an old woman who has lived for decades. I can't see her true nature at all. Whoever marries such a woman will probably be tightly controlled and have 8 lifetimes of bad luck. Feng Na walked up to Li Yundong, nudged him with her elbow, and said in a low voice, now you know what it means to be a lady from a noble family, don't you? Li Yundong couldn't help but sigh as he watched Xueqi socialize with all the guests and greet them. Yes, he said. Who on earth is she? I just asked around, Feng Na said in a low voice. I heard that she is the daughter of a deputy governor. Li Yundong was secretly surprised. If she has such a strong background, why did she come to our university to study? Feng Na shrugged. Who knows? Maybe the girl of the princess party has her own plans? Li Yundong suddenly thought of something. So, didn't I just offend the crown prince's party? Feng Na laughed and said gloatingly, are you afraid now? Li Yundong also laughed, but didn't say anything. Xueqi, who was next to him, tugged at Li Yundong's sleeve and looked at him pitifully. Sir, she said, your girl is so hungry that her chest is sticking to your back. Only then did Li Yundong remember that he and Xueqi hadn't had dinner yet. He smacked his head. I forgot. He smiled at Feng Na and said, Xueqi and I are going to have dinner first. I'll talk to you later. Feng Na smiled. You haven't eaten yet? Don't tell me you guys deliberately didn't eat so that you could have a big meal now? Li Yundong chuckled and gave her a thumbs up. You know me so well. Li Yundong and Xueqi came to the main table. It was a rectangular table that was more than 10 meters long. The table was filled with all kinds of delicious food, including cakes, desserts, chicken, duck, fish, stir-fried dishes, and delicious soup. Xueqi's eyes were blurred by the sight, and she almost drooled on the table. She reached out for a roast chicken, but Li Yundong quickly hit her with his hand. Idiot, he said. Take a plate first. There are tongs on the side. Use them to put the food you want on the plate. Xueqi looked at the dazzling array of food on the table. She felt like she had been cheated. Didn't you say that I could eat as much as I wanted? She asked in disappointment. Li Yundong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Idiot. Everything you put on the plate is yours. You can eat as much as you want. Xueqi's eyes lit up. Really? She asked. Li Yundong had already picked up a chicken leg and put it on the plate. He was already eating it. As he ate, he said in a muffled voice, it's fake. I lied to you. These things are poisonous. Just watch me eat. Xueqi saw that Li Yundong's mouth was covered in grease. She didn't believe him. She stomped her feet in anger and shouted, You big liar. How infuriating. How dare you steal it? You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.